Jiang Sun, having returned to the secret realm, finally felt free from that gaze locked upon him. Someone was definitely observing him. As for their purpose, he had no idea for the time being. Xing Yao had been sticking close by his side, so why hadn't she sensed being watched? Could it be due to the massive gap in their cultivation ranks? Probably some insignificant foe. Jiang Sun's stats were quite formidable now. It was only natural he could pick up on stares from lower-rank cultivators. Where should he go to farm monsters? Jiang Sun scrolled through the forums for ages, yet found no suitable hunting grounds. Then an official notice from Aoki City Guard gave him an idea. Notice: following the recent monster tide in Blackrock Town, monster levels and distributions remain uncharted. It is advised that first-tier professionals refrain from venturing into Blackrock Town for exploration or monster hunting for the time being. An updated notice will be issued once monster distributions have been fully mapped out. All first-tier professionals are urged to exercise caution. Aoki City Guard Headquarters. Same old routine. Every monster tide reshuffled monster spawn zones. Areas that once spawned level 20 monsters might now hold level 30 or even level 40 foes. After each tide, the Great Xia authorities would only fully open zones for professionals once they had surveyed the local monsters. Blackrock Town was a frontier outpost for first-tier professionals, normally bustling with activity. Now it would likely sit nearly empty. First-tier professionals dared not come, while second-tier ones saw no point in visiting. That left a perfect window of opportunity. Moreover, with so few people around, the Blood Moon cult ought not show up here. It was the ideal case of hiding in plain sight. Without further hesitation, Jiang Sun used the coordinate anchor he had saved for Blackrock Town and teleported directly to the town's teleportation array. To onlookers, he simply looked like another traveler arriving from a distant city. All tents and makeshift stalls in Blackrock Town's central square had been dismantled. Only a handful of professionals wandered the streets. Most shops stood shuttered, with merely a handful still open for business. Jiang Sun decided to take a new route and avoid the southern region, where the Blood Moon cult had conducted their bloody ritual previously. He headed east toward the town's east gate and stepped outside the city walls. The ground outside bore the trampled marks of the monster horde, crossed by countless claw prints. Further ahead stretched fields of scattered boulders, some half the height of a man, others no bigger than fists, crunching underfoot. Weathered monoliths dotted the landscape, shaped in strange forms. Some resembled crouching beasts, others toppled stone pillars. Dry gullies snaked across the rolling hills, as though raked open by the claws of some colossal creature. Jiang Sun activated Summon, calling Ling Yu first. He hoisted himself onto her swing, like mount. Traveling this way was far faster than walking. It also kept him safe. Alone, he would be far too vulnerable. Having Ling Yu watch over him made perfect sense. As they flew onward, he summoned his companions one after another. The skill had a 1.2-second cooldown and cost merely 50 mana, negligible for him. Soon all four of his summoned beasts were out. Only Haki, Me ran across the ground. The other three took to the air. Iron Orb flew alongside the group, scanning the surroundings for monsters. Salted Fish, however, was in full-on laze mode. Upon being summoned, it flopped onto Jiang Sun's shoulder. Poor Haki, Me scurried along on its short little legs, doing its utmost to keep pace. It could not match Ling Yu's flight speed. While the flying group met no obstacles in the air, Haki, Me had to clamber over boulders and weave around uneven terrain. What was more, its stats paled in comparison to Platinum, rank Ling Yu. Down below, it was nothing more than a tiny dark dot sprinting desperately. Jiang Sun could not bear to watch, so he reached down and lifted Haki, Me up to fly along with them. As they soared forward, the ground ahead suddenly split open, forming an enormous chasm, as though a mighty power had ripped the earth wide apart. The rift stretched far into the distance, vanishing beyond the horizon. This was a massive canyon. It looked like a promising hidden hunting spot, though he still needed to check monster density. From high above, he surveyed the landscape. The chasm was roughly 30 to 40 meters deep. Its narrowest sections measured less than 10 meters across, while wider stretches reached 45 meters. Sheer, vertical rock walls rose on either side, eroded into sharp ridges. Some surfaces were smooth as though sliced by blades, others pockmarked with tiny hollows. The iron, gray stone bore a thin coating of pale gray moss. The canyon floor was piled high with rubble and weathered rock fragments. A few clumps of withered shrubs clung to cracks, their exposed roots gripping stone desperately. The chasm wound onward out of sight, its twists and turns blocking parts of the view. Cool air drifted upward from the depths. Jiang Sun patted Ling Yu's shoulder and gestured toward the canyon below. Understanding his intent, Ling Yu carried the whole party down to the canyon floor. Once they landed, they advanced along the ground. The bottom felt more spacious than it had appeared from above. Daylight filtered down from above, not direct sunlight, yet bright enough. Light reflected off the rock faces, bathing everything in soft pale, gray illumination. Similar to light on an overcast day, gentle on the eyes. The ground was littered with fallen boulders, some 2 to 3 meters tall, others only knee-high, stacked to form natural barriers. They had traveled only a short distance past piles of rubble when 3 large creatures came into view. 3 rock-scale lizards lay atop a large boulder, each stretched 3 meters long, their bodies covered in rough, pale, gray overlapping scales resembling jagged stone shards. They possessed flattened heads, small yellow vertical, pupilled eyes set on either side of the crown of their skulls, fixed unblinkingly forward. Short, stocky limbs ended in curved hooked claws gripping firmly onto rock. They lay completely still, their pale, gray hides blending almost seamlessly with surrounding weathered stone. If one of them had not flicked its tail, Jiang Sun would have mistaken them for mere boulders. Masters of camouflage, these creatures were classic ambush predators. Jiang Sun and his companions glided quietly behind them. Rock-scale lizards appeared to have poor hearing. Even with the party close behind, the 3 beasts remained motionless. Common rock-scale lizard LV.20, HP, 3200 attack, 450 defense, 600 skill 1. Tail whip, strikes foes with its powerful tail, dealing 250% attack damage. Skill 2, stone skin hardening, raises defense by 60% for 8 seconds, 30-second cooldown. Level, 20 monsters with 3,200 HP and 600 defense. Nothing serious. Each of his summons could easily defeat them. What was better, they were 10 levels higher than Jiang Sun, granting him full bonus experience for fighting higher level foes. Instead of engaging immediately, Jiang Sun chose to scout further. They flew another 100 meters and spotted a pack of gravel weasels. These had been the vanguard force in Blackrock Town's monster siege, though those siege specimens had reached level 40+. These individuals were far weaker and small in stature. A pack, dwelling species. Common gravel weasel LV.18, HP, 1800 attack, 380 defense, 220 skill 1, sudden dash, bursts forward 5 meters, striking the first target in its path for 200% attack damage. Skill 2, swarm passive. Each additional nearby gravel weasel raises its attack by 5%, stacking up to 6 times. 100 HP and merely 220 defense. Far friendlier than rock-scale lizards. Even with the full 30% attack bonus from Swarm, they could not pierce Iron Orb, Salted Fish, or Ling Yu's defenses. They relied purely on numbers. While a first-tier mid-rank professional would struggle surrounded by over a dozen of them, Jiang Sun's party had nothing to fear. Iron Orb boasted 9,600 effective defense, more than enough. Just as Jiang Sun prepared to press onward, faint scraping noises echoed from a pile of rubble below. He focused his gaze. A blue, tinged poison barb shot upward from beneath the stones. Crystal, back scorpion. A creature that lurked underground to ambush targets above ground. Its body was as large as a wash basin, dark brown with translucent shell shimmering faint blue. 8 slender legs held its body low to the ground. Its 2 pincers hung slightly open, and its tail arched high, tipped with a pale, purple poisoned stinger, the very weapon that had just struck out from concealment. Common crystal, back scorpion LV.24, HP, 4,600 attack, 520 defense, 350 skill 1, poison sting surprise, ambushes from underground, striking with its tail stinger for 350% attack damage, inflicting poison that drains 80 HP per second for 6 seconds. Skill 2, crystal shell glare. Its carapace blazes bright, blinding nearby enemies for 1.5 seconds, 45-second cooldown. Missing its strike, the crystal back scorpion retreated slowly, slipping back into rock crevices. Its shell dimmed, merging into surrounding shadows. Another ambush specialist, lying motionless and waiting for openings to attack. It would retreat upon missing, biding its time for another chance. The monsters here were not overly powerful, yet every species had its own tricky traits. One fought in swarms, one used environmental camouflage, one specialized in surprise attacks. 2 classic ambush predators. None of this mattered for Jiang Sun's party. Even if they landed full hits, They could not break Iron Orb's defenses. Jiang Sun mentally reviewed the three monster types. Rockscale Lizard LV.20, high defense, moderate HP. One blow from Iron Orb would finish each. Gravel Weasel LV.18, fragile, fast, pack-based. Salted Fish's Scorching Wasteland Domain would burn them down while healing allies. Crystal, Back Scorpion LV.24, high single, target burst with poison, low total HP. Still trivial foes. None could pierce the defenses of his three summons. This canyon was perfect for them to fight unrestrained. Jiang Sun returned to an open stretch of gravel flats. The location was ideal. High rock walls rose on either side. A narrow passage led deeper into the chasm ahead, and the path back lay behind him. He enjoyed clear lines of sight and easy retreat options. Once Salted Fish deployed its domain, it would cover most of this zone, letting his summons hunt efficiently. Iron Orb glanced sideways at Jiang Sun. Finished admiring the view? Can I start smashing things now? This blocky brute had not gotten a fight in a while and was clearly eager for battle. Jiang Sun waved his hand. Iron Orb, Salted Fish, Hakimi, you three are up. Salted Fish looked displeased. Why doesn't the big boss get to fight? I also want to take it easy. Jiang Sun grew exasperated. He was supposed to be the one lazing around, yet Salted Fish, upon being summoned, had turned into the ultimate idler, gaining skills built entirely around resting. Learn from Iron Orb. Look at how dedicated it is to fighting. Why would I imitate it? I don't have a hardstone skull. One blockhead in our group is quite enough. This lady prefers relaxation. Jiang Sun grabbed Salted Fish and hurled it toward Iron Orb. Activate your Wasteland Domain right now. If Iron Orb takes even a single point of damage, you get no supper tonight, he ordered sharply. Hakimi obeyed instantly, turning invisible to go hunting, though its current attack power left it somewhat vulnerable. Keep an eye on Hakimi. It is only gold rank. Jiang Sun pointed deeper into the chasm. Clear out monsters along the canyon floor. Do not wander off. All of you stay within Salted Fish's domain and stick together. You three handle the hunting. Lingyu and I are off to do something important. Iron Orb hummed in acknowledgement. Salted Fish rolled its eyes and unwillingly unfolded its domain. Privately, it wondered exactly what sort of important business Jiang Sun was really up to. Iron Orb surged forward. Its dark, gold spherical head swelled several times larger. It charged toward a huge boulder. A rock-scale lizard resting atop, it had barely lifted its head when Iron Orb slammed hard into its flank. Boom. A dull crash rang out. That single strike killed it instantly. Shockwave damage finished off the other two lizards nearby. Bang, bang, bang. Cracks spiderwebbed across the ground as gravel flew. Iron Orb crushed rock-scale lizards one after another. Salted Fish floated up into mid-air and unleashed Wasteland Domain. A 50-meter radius field spread out instantly, engulfing at least 20-odd monsters. Jiang Sun glanced over at Hakimi. It had sneaked up behind a lone gravel weasel, dropped invisibility, and swiped its claws against the weasel's skull. The beast stumbled forward dazed. A second claw strike ended its life. Though weaker than platinum rank allies, the gold rank Hakimi was more than capable against these ordinary mobs. Watching his summons fight was a pleasure. Seeing them in action stirred Jiang Sun's urge to join in. A level 25 rock-scale lizard with over 4,100 HP spawned nearby. Jiang Sun loosed magic missile. 2 basketball-sized projectiles streaked toward the monster. Before the lizard could react, both slammed into its head. A huge damage number, 6,100, burst above its head. The first missile alone overkilled it. The second was wasted force. Still traveling fast, the second projectile smashed into the corpse. The rock-scale lizard's body exploded, blood splattering far outward like a blooming crimson lotus, a macabre sight. Not bad output. His attacks packed solid punch, and his sustained combat capability was incredible. 0 mana cost, no cooldown. It was hard to compete with that. Satisfied, Jiang Sun stopped attacking. After observing for a while to confirm his 3 summons worked well as a team, he turned to leave. He intended to tackle the Void Spirit Tower, and Lingyu alone would suffice for that. The other 3 would keep farming monsters to earn universal experience points. A well-raised summoned beast ought to know how to earn its own keep. Jiang Sun's inner taskmaster awakened. This was exactly why he had chosen the summoner class, to let his summons farm experience rapidly. From now on, they would keep busy. A few hours of rest each day, plus breaks for meals, ought to be sufficient. With unsparing thoughts, Jiang Sun looked down at the 3 hard-working summons in the canyon. Seated on Lingyu's swing mount, He leaped back to the secret realm, then teleported to Aoki City. His form materialized beside the city teleportation array. He stowed Lingyu and walked alone toward the city center. The central square remained crowded. On its southern side rose an ash-gray tower. Surrounding it stood many varied buildings. Headquarters for major powers scouting for talented individuals, shops selling gear and potions, and other odd establishments, all built around this colossal spire. This was the Void Spirit Tower. 150 meters tall, the smooth ash-gray stone structure had neither windows nor carvings. A pale, blue luminous ring hovered above its summit. Streams of light cascading downward like a glowing rectangular screen slowly rotating, displaying tiered ranking leaderboards. Crowds watched and jotted down information. Wide-arched stone gates formed the main entrance, carved with 3 large characters, Void Spirit Tower. Lights swirled across the gateway, marking the portal inside. 2 massive stone steels flanked the arch, inscribed with tower rules. Rules were straightforward. Competitions were split by tiers. First-tier professionals fought other first-tier foes, second-tier against second-tier, and so on. Rankings were maintained for both human competitors and all species participants. One could duel against humans or other races. Ranks were further divided into leagues, each granting daily point rewards. Starting from Iron, ranks progressed through Bronze, Silver, Gold, up to King. Advancement required reaching set point thresholds. It functioned exactly like ranked matches. Originally designed as a safe training ground for professionals to hone their skills, the Void Spirit Tower had evolved into a venue for settling disputes and demonstrating strength. No true powerhouse dared show themselves without a respectable Void Spirit Tower rank. Duels here resolved personal conflicts, contests of strength, and even racial disagreements. Might made right within its walls. Of course, this was only the overt battle of wits. There were still plenty of covert armed conflicts going on behind the scenes. None of this really concerned Jiang Sun, though. He had come here solely to obtain its unique skills and special grade gear. Yes, there was a skill called Void Spirit Step here, similar to a flash ability, exactly what Jiang Sun had long wanted to get. If he upgraded it using universal experience, it would undoubtedly become a life-saving trump card. Then there was the Void Spirit set dropped in this place, another excellent set of items. And for Jiang Sun, it was high time he got himself proper equipment. It wasn't that he had never thought about gear before. He had checked the system shop. First, Order Bronze gear cost 100 gold coins, while First, Order Gold, rank gear went for over 1,000 gold coins apiece. With his current funds, buying a full set was nothing but a fantasy. That was why he had not paid much mind to equipment up until now. Now that his strength far outstripped ordinary First Order opponents, why not clear the Void Spirit Tower's challenges, earn points, and get a full set for free? What could be better than that? Without further hesitation, he stepped through the glowing portal of the Void Spirit Tower. The moment Jiang Sun walked inside, a system prompt chimed. Detected. Professional has reached First Order. Teleporting to First Order Zone. A wave of teleportation dizziness washed over him, and Jiang Sun found himself inside a small chamber. The room was modest-sized, built from some unknown type of stone. Right in the center floated a circular light orb. Touching it would initiate ranked competitive matches. He reached out and touched the orb. A system interface unfolded before his eyes. Void Spirit Tower Human Race Ranked Matches Competitor, Jiang Sun LV. 10 Summoner, Tier. First Order, Current Division. First Order Division, Current Rank. Unranked, Current Points. 0, Placement Match Progress. 0 out of 10, All. Race Ranked. Locked Reach Silver Rank and Human Race Rank to unlock. He scrolled down to view the rank table. Iron, Bronze, Silver, Gold, King. A 5-tier system, fairly straightforward, all things considered. Scrolling further down brought him to the Void Spirit shop. Void Spirit Step Active Displacement Teleport 5 meters toward a designated direction. Cooldown, 30 seconds. Cost, 2,000 points. Jiang Sun's eyes lit up. This was it, one of his main targets, though the point cost was rather steep. Short, range teleportation, perfect for both combat and escaping danger. He kept reading. Void Spirit Iron Badge Accessory Monster Kill Experience Gain plus 2%. Cost, 500 points. Great item. Perfectly synergistic with Universal Experience. With this, his rate of gaining Universal Experience would improve slightly. Void Spirit Cloak Warrior Iron Defense plus 65. Evasion plus 8%. Cost, 1,500 points. Void Spirit Iron Wall Bracers Bronze Defense plus 130. Attack plus 110. Slash Magic Attack plus 140. Cost, 3,000 points. Whoa, these equipment pieces really cost a staggering number of points. He wondered how many points each match would award. Gear from the Void Spirit Tower was compatible with all base classes, and each base class had its own exclusive set. For Jiang Sun, he would go for the Summoner set. Enough thinking. Time to start fighting. Let me, Great Demon King Jiang, test the true strength of these first-order human geniuses. He closed the shop interface and tapped Begin Matchmaking. Searching for opponent, matchmaking pool, first-order division, human ranked placement matches match found. Everything went dark. When he opened his eyes again, he stood inside a circular arena. The arena was 70 to 80 meters across, paved with flat yellow, brownstone slabs, ringed by a translucent energy barrier. Above hung a dull gray void, no proper sky in sight. Across from him stood a man in his early 20s wearing worn leather armor, a long sword hanging at his waist. Clearly a warrior class. Upon seeing Jiang Sun spawn in, he twirled his sword and struck what he clearly thought was an impressive pose, gazing half toward the heavens. Are you ready to face your destined rival? Hearing those words, Jiang Sun felt speechless. Who does this guy think he is? Some cliché protagonist. Glancing at his level, just a level 15 warrior. Where did he pick up such an overconfident attitude? Jiang Sun raised a hand, and Ling Yu's figure materialized beside him. The opponent was still holding his dramatic pose, sword tip angled toward the ground, chin tilted upward. Then he caught sight of Ling Yu, and his eyes lit up with curiosity. Wait, can you even bring allies into the Void Spirit Tower? Ling Yu paid him no mind. She playfully winked at Jiang Sun. You summoned me just to deal with this weakling? A feather blade shot forth right afterward. No fancy skills needed for such a trivial foe. A basic auto attack would suffice. The feather blade slammed against his sword, shattering it instantly. Without losing momentum, the projectile pierced straight through his body. The warrior froze mid-pose, then was instantly slain. Kill. Battle duration, 6 seconds. Jiang Sun stood still, watching his opponent dissolve into particles and vanish. Is that all? He had expected some formidable expert with such a grand entrance, only for him to go down in one hit. Come to think of it, a level 15 warrior would have a maximum HP of barely over 5,000. Ling Yu boasted over 12,000 attack power, and her feather blade carried a 5.0 damage multiplier. That single strike dealt more than 60,000 damage. What could he possibly use to block? Short of some broken 90% damage reduction ability, instant death was inevitable. Placement match 1 out of 10 points. Plus 10-1. Match win streak current points. 10. Time for the next ranked match. Second match, an archer. He began retreating the instant the fight started, firing arrows as he backed away. Ling Yu closed the distance and finished him with one blow. Third match, a shield guard. He slammed his great shield into the ground to activate damage mitigation. Ling Yu's first strike shattered the protective glow around his shield. Her second pierced straight through his chest. Fourth match, a mage. He had barely lifted his staff and not yet finished chanting when the feather blade arrived. Every fight ended in one hit. Jiang Sun was nearly bored to sleep. His own combat power was admittedly overpowered, but were these opponents really this weak? Weren't they all supposed to be first-order powerhouses? Couldn't any of them offer a real challenge? Still, this was convenient. He checked his points. The system was fairly generous. Each additional win in the streak raised match points by 10. After 4 matches, he had earned 40 bonus points. If this streak bonus could keep stacking indefinitely, his point gain would skyrocket. Jiang Sun could not imagine any first-order opponent capable of defeating him. Placement match 5 out of 10 information for his fifth opponent popped up, stirring a flicker of anticipation in Jiang Sun. It was an assassin, a class he had never fought before. Assassins were famed for stealth and burst damage, right? They were supposed to be natural counters to squishy summoners. Standard tactics were to turn invisible at match start, circle around, and take out the summoner directly. As the countdown hit 0, the figure opposite vanished from the arena. Silence fell over the field. Jiang Sun stood his ground, listening intently. He checked his shield granted by Life Guardian. A solid 21,272 hit points, enough to make him feel secure. Ling Yu hovered 3 meters beside him, scanning every corner. Suddenly, very soft footsteps echoed from his right. His body reacted faster than his eyes. Jiang Sun darted 1 step to his left, yet it was too late. A cold glint of steel stabbed toward his neck from directly behind him. Squelch! The blade connected with his neck, and a chunk of his shield vanished. A large damage number floated upward, 4,600. More than 1/5 of his shield vanished in a single blow. This assassin's burst damage was genuinely terrifying. That one strike had dealt over 4,000 damage to him. Without his shield, the newcomer's blessing passive would surely have triggered. The assassin materialized where Jiang Sun had stood a moment before, dagger in hand, stealth broken by her attack. She was a woman with her head and face wrapped in black cloth. Staring at the situation, her expression read pure disbelief. What on earth? My signature stealth strike didn't scratch a single point of his actual health? Is this some kind of system bug? Meanwhile, Ling Yu had already locked onto her, gathering energy for another feather blade. Whoosh. Thud. Two quick sounds. The golden feather blade pierced clean through the assassin's chest, exiting out her back. Her HP had barely exceeded 2,000. Her health dropped straight to 0. Placement match 5/10 points, plus 55. Match win streak current points, 150. Jiang Sun touched his neck. He could still vividly feel the impact of that dagger. This fight confirmed something. Even a black-tier assassin would need 4 or 5 solid hits to burn through his shield. Of course, stronger assassins could exist. This one was only level 20-something. What if he faced a level 90-plus assassin? They might well break his shield and start dealing real health damage. He must never underestimate potential foes. The following 3 matches were again one-hit kills. The battles passed so fast Jiang Sun felt as though he was merely dispatching disposable attendants. 6th match, a berserker collapsed mid-charge. 7th match, a duel. Blade Assassin was cut down the instant she revealed herself, never getting close enough to strike Ling Yu. Placement match 8 out of 10. His 8th opponent was different. A level 26 Iron Wall class warrior clad in heavy plate armor. He hefted a massive iron, gray shield. Upon spotting Ling Yu, he did not freeze like earlier opponents. He slammed his shield hard against the ground, and a yellow earthen protective aura flared across his body. Clearly an experienced fighter activating his defensive skills the moment combat began. Ling Yu's first feather blade crashed against his shield. The yellow aura shuddered violently, spiderwebbing with cracks, yet held. Tough shell on this guy. His shield topped 60,000 hit points. Jiang Sun narrowed his eyes. This was the first placement, match opponent who had survived a direct hit from Ling Yu. Ling Yu loosed a second feather blade, striking the exact same spot. The yellow protective aura shattered completely. The blade punched through the shield and buried itself in his chest plate. The Iron Wall warrior was thrown backward by the force, slamming into the arena's energy barrier before sliding motionless to the ground. Placement match 8 out of 10 points, plus 88. Match win streak current points, 360. Jiang Sun reviewed the combat log. Level 26 Iron Wall, over 170 constitution, nearly 18,000 HP, combined with damage, reduction barriers, and heavy armor. He had withstood 2 feather blade strikes. Still, it had only taken 2 hits, finished in under 2 seconds. The final 2 matches also ended swiftly. 9th match, an elemental mage covered the ground in blazing fire circles, only to be eliminated mid-set up by 1 airborne feather blade from Ling Yu. 10th match, a swordmaster, the most skilled opponent yet. At match start he sprinted sideways, blocking the first feather blade with his sword, getting knocked sliding backward. He tried to press forward for counterattacks, but never got the chance. Ling Yu steadied herself and launched another feather blade straight into his chest, ending the fight. Placement match 10/10 points, plus 110. Match win streak current points, 550. All battles concluded, and the system displayed his final placement result. Placement matches completed. Competitor, Jiang Sun, record, 10 wins, 0 losses, assigned rank. Bronze, points, 600. Leaning back within his private meditation chamber, Jiang Sun opened the Void Spirit shop again. The cheapest item, the Void Spirit Iron Badge, cost 500 points. He had 550, enough to buy it. Yet his gaze drifted toward Void Spirit Step at 2,000 points. There was still quite a gap to close. He decided to hold on to his points for now. The all-race ranked icon remained gray and locked, with a note. Unlocked by reaching silver rank in human race ranked. At his current pace, he could play hundreds of matches in a single day. Each fight lasted mere seconds. So far no opponent had even managed to force Ling Yu to exert herself. Jiang Sun could practically picture the Void Spirit set beckoning to him. His placement matches were finished. 10 matches, all ending in total dominance. His final assigned rank was bronze. Jiang Sun was fairly surprised. Most professionals ended at the base iron rank after placements. He had jumped straight to bronze. Still, this suited him. Higher rank matchmaking would pit him against stronger opponents, helping sharpen his combat awareness. Leaning against the walls of his private chamber, Jiang Sun pondered and pulled up his status panels. He wanted to check how well his 3 summoned companions were grinding experience out in the wild. First, he checked his experience pool. Experience pool, 31650. Nice. The 3 over in the rift had not slacked off. Over 30,000 experience points earned. In less than half a day, they must have defeated well over 100 monsters. Next, he checked his Fate Seal points. Fate Seal points, 11,480/100,000. The number had climbed a little further. His gaze fell on the requirement for unlocking his second summon slot, 1 million Fate Seal points. That requirement was absurdly steep. Those were the rules set by the world will, and he simply had to accept them. He could earn at most a few hundred Fate Seal points per day, amounting to roughly 9,000 each month. At that rate, gathering 1 million would take close to 10 years. That would take forever. Still, he was not in desperate need of a second summon slot. He would just keep accumulating points slowly. There was no point in fretting. Back to his Void Spirit Tower points. Exactly 600. Void Spirit Step needed 2,000, leaving a deficit of 1,400 points. Staring at that number, a sudden brilliant thought popped into his mind. Right. There was that win, streak point bonus. Each consecutive victory added 10 extra points per match. If he kept his streak going, after 20 wins, each match would reward 200 points. As long as he never lost. If each match took roughly 1 minute, he could earn 6,000 points per hour. Buying whatever he wanted would become trivial. Jiang Sun was quite pleased with his realization. He could not envision anyone capable of breaking his current win streak. Ling Yu's stats were more than enough to handle most first-order foes, and could even hold her own against second-order opponents. Only monstrous talents with SSS, grade professions or talents could potentially threaten him, and he would not meet such opponents at this rank level. At this rate, Void Spirit Step would be his within a single day. Cheerful at this prospect, he decided to head back to his secret realm for a while and run an experiment. He had noticed something during his earlier matches. While both he and Ling Yu stayed inside the private meditation chamber, Ling Yu could interact with the central light orb to start ranked matches. Both of them would get teleported to the battleground when combat began. Now he wanted to test what would happen if he left the chamber, leaving Ling Yu behind on her own. Could she initiate ranked matches by herself? If this worked, it would be amazing. Effectively 2 lines of progress running at once. Other professionals would surely be envious. Ling Yu, I'm going to teleport back to the secret realm. Stay here inside this chamber and try starting ranked matches on your own. Let's see whether it works. Understood, Master. You may go. If it cannot be done, I will send you a mental message to let you know. Ling Yu smiled gently, seeing through his clever scheme, yet willing to indulge him. After all, he was her master. Jiang Sun teleported straight back to the first Sprout Root secret realm. Bright sunlight filled the secret realm. Out in the open space before the wooden lodge, Jiang Xiaoxiao was practicing walking while standing on her hands, her legs swinging steadily through the air. She spotted Jiang Sun the instant he returned, continuing her hand walk while giving him a meaningful look. Jiang Sun read her expression clearly. It meant, just you wait, brother. Once I grow stronger, I will flick your forehead 100 times. He squatted down in front of her upside-down face. Flick. A sharp forehead flick landed. Will you cut that out? Walk normally. Who do you think you are, some master practicing special martial arts? Jiang Xiaoxiao glared at him, stuck supporting herself on her palms, unable to rub her stinging forehead. Mark my words, brother. Every flick you give me now, I will pay back 100-fold later. Jiang Sun twitched his mouth. The girl was still holding out hope for that mysterious elder's supposed secret training. She certainly was persistent, keeping up that walking practice. He privately wondered how she managed to take care of basic needs in that state. He pushed the odd thought aside. He could not help but look forward to seeing her reaction 3 days from now, when that supposed elder never showed up again. Their mother stood by the lodge doorway, sorting vegetables. Seeing Jiang Sun return, she nodded toward the kitchen. Are you hungry? There is food in the pot. Help yourself to some. Uncle Ashing was trimming branches in the form, shaping wood growth. The 100 saplings had grown into a sizable forest. Multiple tree houses stood fully completed. Young Fluff, Tail clan children ran and leaped playfully among them. A young girl poked half her head out of one treehouse window, her rabbit ears standing straight up, secretly peeking toward Jiang Sun. Catching his gaze, she instantly ducked back inside. A moment later, she peeked out again and called out in a tiny voice barely louder than a mosquito's buzz. Greetings, benefactor. Jiang Sun smiled. No doubt Elder Fluff, Tail had told the children to behave this way. He did not particularly care for such formal deference. The more time he spent with them, the more he saw how sincerely grateful these people were. With other urgent matters settled, Elder Fluff, Tail had led her whole clan into cultivating meta rice. She had mentioned to Jiang Sun recently that they planned to begin raising livestock on the secret realm's second layer and were selecting suitable clansfolk for the task. Jiang Sun told her to take things slow. There was no need to rush development. He filled a bowl with food and squatted by the doorway to eat, watching everything unfold. His sister practicing hand walking, Uncle Ashing tending the woods, his mother preparing food. Far off in the fields, the fluff, tail people labored among the meta rice crops, and the form, shaping wood forest shimmered golden under sunlight. This place felt genuinely pleasant. This would be his home base from now on. Who wouldn't want a well-managed, comfortable stronghold? It occurred to him that his mother and sister rarely left the secret realm these days. If anyone tried to look for him back in the real world home, they would find nobody there. It was not a major concern. Everyone important had added him as an in-game friend. Friends and classmates would simply message him through the friend system if they needed something. He remained inside the secret realm for half a day, and Ling Yu sent no mental alerts. His trick might actually be working. Then again, messages might get blocked across separate dimensional spaces. The Void Spirit Tower existed as an independent realm outside Earth space. Every entrant received their own private meditation chamber, which would be impossible to fit physically inside the tower's actual structure. It was definitely a separate dimension. He would have to go check for himself. Jiang Sun quickly finished his bowl of food, rested for a short while, then teleported back into his private meditation chamber in the Void Spirit Tower. Hey, you know what? It actually can teleport people right in. Wow, that's wild. Is there no spatial isolation at all? Jiang Sun's figure materialized inside the meditation chamber. He glanced around, but Ling Yu was nowhere to be seen. Had she teleported into the battle arena? He walked over to the glowing orb in the center of the room and stared intently into it. Whoa, this thing can even show what's happening inside the battle arena. Within the battle space, Ling Yu stood on one side. Facing her was a level 32 berserker. Ling Yu released a feather blade and took him out in one hit. Jiang Sun watched, thoroughly impressed. When he fought alongside Ling Yu and they wiped out enemies together, it had not felt that remarkable. But watching her pull off these instant kill moves as an outsider was genuinely satisfying to behold. A moment later, Ling Yu reappeared inside the meditation chamber. When she spotted Jiang Sun, she smiled sweetly, the warm smile of a kind-hearted older sister. And Jiang Sun's heart stirred slightly. Having such a lovely companion around was truly a pleasant sight. Points plus 110-11. Match win streak. Current points, 710. Jiang Sun's eyes lit up. 110 points for 11 straight wins. That was a solid rate. A dozen more matches, and he would unlock Void Spirit Step. Cue again. The second match matched him after 7 seconds. Opponent was a level 38 archer. Right from the start, the archer backed away, loosing arrows while retreating, moving far faster than the opponents from his placement matches. Still, it only bought him a little extra running room. No one could outrun something flying through the air. Another feather blade, and the archer was eliminated. Points jumped from 710 to 830. 120 points for a 12th win. The progress was excellent. Third match took 10 seconds to find an opponent. This foe was a level 45 warrior with noticeably higher health. Ling Yu's feather blade failed to finish him off, leaving him with a sliver of health remaining. She followed up with another strike, and only then did he collapse. Jiang Sun frowned. Ling Yu had not grown weaker. The opponents were simply getting stronger. A level 45 warrior with standard stat allocation would already have well over 10,000 health. Add equipment and damage, reduction skills, and surviving one hit made perfect sense. Queue times kept growing longer, climbing from several seconds to over 10, then 20+ seconds. One match took nearly half a minute to find a partner. As soon as the battle loaded, Jiang Sun recognized the man standing opposite him. When the warrior laid eyes on Jiang Sun and Ling Yu, he flew into a frustrated rant. What is wrong with this terrible matchmaking system? I keep getting paired against you, summoner, with that bird companion twice in a row. 1 hit kills every single time. How am I supposed to play? Jiang Sun chuckled. Huh, so you can get matched against the same person repeatedly? Sorry, man. Round 2. Another quick kill. I'll make this painless for you, haha. The man was practically in despair and shouted loudly. Just finish me off quickly. I never want to get matched against you two again. My precious 5 win streak. I've lost twice straight now. My points. My win streak. Oh heavens, why must fate be so cruel? Drama much? Jiang Sun muttered to himself. He glanced at Ling Yu, then back at the distraught warrior. All right, quit yelling. I'll give you a fair chance. My summon will stay out of this fight. I'll duel you myself. Don't say I never gave you a shot. Hearing this, the warrior's eyes lit up. Everyone knew summoners were fragile glass, cannon classes. This was his opening. He could get payback for those 2 previous crushing defeats. He jumped to his feet, looking eagerly at Jiang Sun. Really? Don't lie to me. Cross my heart. If I lie, I'm a puppy. All right, let's fight. Man to man, let's go all out. The warrior was fired up and hopeful, completely missing the odd wording in Jiang Sun's promise. Jiang Sun rolled his eyes internally. 2 guys did not need to talk about fighting 300 rounds. That was just weird. Still, he had no intention of tricking the man. With his current health, shield, and the explosive power of his mana orbs, he genuinely wanted to test himself against this warrior. After all, this opponent was a level 40 warrior. His attack power and health ought to be respectable. Jiang Sun also noticed he was wearing 2 or 3 pieces of proper gear, and his sword was no longer a plain starting, grade weapon, clearly first-tier equipment. Come on, let me see what you've got, Jiang Sun said casually. The 2 stood 20-odd meters apart. Ling Yu hovered in the air above Jiang Sun's head, keeping watch, a feather blade already gripped in her hand. She was ready to instantly eliminate the warrior the moment anything went wrong. Blinded by his desire for revenge, the warrior charged forward at top speed, drawing his sword mid-dash. He swung the blade down hard toward Jiang Sun's head. Jiang Sun instinctively dodged out of the way of the fatal blow, but the sword still sliced into his shoulder. A pale, blue damage number popped up above him, 4100, absorbed by his shield. Jiang Sun's sleeve fluttered from the impact, yet he barely staggered. Not bad. For this level, you're pretty capable. That single strike had drained over 4,000 points of his shield. Jiang Sun gathered mana in his hands. 2 basketball-sized deep, blue orbs formed, crackling with surging electricity. The warrior gaped. What kind of skill was this? A mage's destructive lightning orbs? Whatever they were, they looked devastating. Since when did summoners have access to spells like this? Was the universe playing some cruel joke on him? He tried to scramble backward to evade the incoming orbs, but it was already too late. The first mana orb slammed straight into his chest. A huge red damage value floated above his head, 5920. The force sent the warrior flying backward through the air, flailing helplessly with nowhere to grab onto. Immediately afterward, the second orb connected, 5920. After taking both hits, the warrior's face turned pale with shock. He had lost most of his 13,000 plus health, barely clinging to survival. What kind of monster was this? Aren't summoners supposed to be squishy? A summoner without their summoned beast was supposed to be easy prey. What was going on here? Not only did he have an absurdly thick shield, his damage output was insanely high, and he could cast 2 such orbs at once. There was no way to compete. Thud! The warrior crashed heavily onto the ground of the battle arena. He lay motionless, too worn out to put up any further resistance, and waved a hand weakly toward Jiang Sun, surrendering. Jiang Sun laughed and unleashed 1 more mana orb, reducing the warrior to dissipating light particles. Counted as an instant kill, at least he had not dragged the fight out for the poor guy. Ha ha. With that little interlude over, he queued for matches again. Opponents kept growing stronger and displaying stranger abilities. A level 52 elemental mage forced Ling Yu to chase him across the arena twice before landing a clean hit. A level 48 dual blade assassin used far craftier stealth, flanking tactics than the female assassin from placement matches, nearly stabbing Jiang Sun in the back. Nearly though, Ling Yu spun around and finished him off with 1 feather blade. Next came a level 56 warrior clad in silvery light armor, wielding a broad-edged greatsword. As soon as Jiang Sun saw his level, he ran quick calculations in his mind. A level 56 warrior would have at least 130 plus constitution, with a base health of 15,000 or higher. Adding equipment and damage reduction skills, his effective survivability could approach 20,000 hit points. Ling Yu launched her feather blade. The warrior raised his sword to block. A bright white aura flared along the blade, bolstered by a defensive skill. The feather blade shattered the protective light, pierced through the sword, and struck his chest plate. He stumbled 3 steps backward but remained standing. He was not defeated. Jiang Sun was amazed. Impressive, you can really take a beating. This was the first time an opponent had survived a direct hit from Ling Yu since he had entered the Void Spirit Tower. Ling Yu followed up with a second feather blade. The second projectile tore through his chest armor, and the warrior dissolved into light. Jiang Sun studied the end of match report and mentally filed away this observation. Properly geared level 56 warriors with relevant skills could indeed survive one of Ling Yu's strikes. Not all first-tier opponents were pushovers. If he met level 70 plus Iron Wall style warriors with active damage mitigation skills, they might endure 3 or 4 hits. That would be interesting. For now, though, most foes still fell within 1 or 2 strikes. He checked his points, which had climbed above 2,000. His win streak was still unbroken. Jiang Sun smacked his lips. If Ling Yu could handle ranked battles entirely on her own, there was no real reason for him to stay in this chamber. All that talk about honing combat techniques and sharpening battle instincts, forget it. He was Jiang Sun, destined to become the greatest summoner alive. What did a summoner do? Let your summons overwhelm your foes. He could just play the supporting role. Besides, Ling Yu's ranking efficiency was unaffected whether he was present or not. She needed no commands from him. After finishing one match, she automatically queued for the next. She matched, fought, eliminated enemies, and repeated. So why hang around? Time to go have some fun. With a thought, Jiang Sun vanished from the meditation chamber and leaped back into his secret realm. Upon arriving, he did not immediately sit down. He used his summoning contract sense to check on his 3 companions deep within the Rift Grotto. Iron Sphere's aura rumbled with constant crashing sounds as it smashed away at monsters. Salted Fish's consciousness felt lazy. Its scorched domain was most likely spread across the surroundings. Hajimi's presence darted back and forth at high speed, evidently chasing some small creature again. All 3 were alive and energetic, happily grinding monsters inside the Rift Grotto. Right after landing, a friend request notification popped up. Jiang Sun opened it. Applicant, warrior, who lost his temper. No more. Haha, look at that username. Warrior, who lost his temper. No more. Hey boss, it's me, the warrior you blasted away with those 2 mana orbs. I'm not here for anything else. Just wondering when you plan to take a break. I won't queue while you're playing. I'll log on only after you stop. Please. I never want to get matched against you ever again. This guy had genuinely developed a trauma from their fight. Jiang Sun accepted the request and typed a reply. Jiang Sun, hard to say. Depends on my mood. The reply came instantly. Warrior, who lost his temper. No more. Got it. I'm logging off right away. I'll come back once you're offline. And boss, please don't play late at night. I also do ranked matches for points after midnight. Jiang Sun laughed so hard his shoulders shook. This man was treating his gaming schedule like a weather forecast. Closing the friend interface, Jiang Sun suddenly remembered something. Shen Qingtang had not made any noise for quite a while. And what exactly was Bone Butcher of the Blood Moon cult up to? He closed his eyes and activated his life mark tracking ability. Faint, hazy mental links surfaced in his mind. He focused first on Bone Butcher's mark. The trace pointed outside Azurewood City, vague and approximate, somewhere deep in the wilderness dozens of miles away. Jiang Sun frowned. He must have returned to a Blood Moon cult hideout. The mark's distance made it clear he was nowhere inside Azurewood City. Next, he traced Shen Qingtang. He wondered if she still felt sick thinking about steamed buns after eating so many of them. Her life mark was inside Azurewood City, in the Western District, quite close by. Exact location, Old Street. Jiang Sun grinned. Perfect timing. He had just been looking for something to amuse himself with, and entertainment had practically landed right in his lap. He sat cross-legged and activated boundless communication, locking onto Shen Qingtang's life mark in his mind. As he established the connection, he surprisingly caught faint wisps of her inner thoughts, almost as if he could overhear her mind. Jiang Sun raised an eyebrow. Oh, this skill has this extra function? He altered his voice, lowering it into a hoarse, ambiguous tone impossible to trace to any age or gender, and spoke directly through the life mark. Down in the alley of Old Street, Shen Qingtang huddled under a drab, tattered robe, a chipped bowl sitting on the ground before her. She was still pretending to be a beggar. The Yuan cult had barely reached out to her lately, yet she dared not discard her beggar disguise. Who knew when agents from the Azurewood branch might come to make contact again? She was debating whether to relocate her spot. The street entrance had heavier foot traffic. All of a sudden, a voice echoed directly inside her head. You are thinking about moving to a different spot, aren't you? Shen Qingtang shuddered violently. She jerked her head up and scanned her surroundings. The old street remained unchanged. Merchants shouted their wares. The clink of a shoe, repairer's hammer echoed. Pedestrians wandered back and forth. No one was watching her. She swallowed hard, wondering if exhaustion had caused auditory hallucinations. The voice spoke again. You heard correctly. This is no hallucination. Shen Qingtang's complexion paled. You tossed and turned late into the night before falling asleep. This morning before leaving your room, you tucked a strand of hair in the door crack as a marker. You're also wondering what you should do if the Yuan cult never sends anyone to find you. Shen Qingtang froze completely. She glanced down at her bowl. All those things had been done in secret. How could this voice know her private thoughts? Was she seeing ghosts in broad daylight? The voice continued slowly. And 2 nights ago, you lay awake thinking about fleeing to either Anyang Town or falling, Rock Town to lie low for a while. Cold dread washed over Shen Qingtang's back. That truly had been her plan. Disguised as a beggar, she gathered intelligence to offer to high-ranking Yuan cult members once contact was restored. Ever since the Rock Solid Army had raided their former hideout, she had lived in constant anxiety. Not entirely for her own sake. She worried about her mother within the Yuan cult. But she had never shared these worries with anyone. How could this voice know them? She whispered in a trembling voice, barely audible. Who? Who is speaking? The voice ignored her question. After a short pause, it adopted a pretentious, mystic tone, like a street fortune teller. I wander these lands. Your fortune shows misfortune looming over you. You face imminent disaster. Yet fate binds us together. I shall offer you guidance. Shen Qingtang's mind spun. In this world, mysterious adepts existed. What if she really had encountered some otherworldly being? Master, is this true? I never speak falsehoods. Turn around and stand with your back toward the alley entrance. Hesitantly, Shen Qingtang obeyed. She moved to the wall and stood facing away from the street. Flip over the bowl in front of you. She knelt and overturned her chipped bowl onto the ground beside her feet. Now press your palms together, close your eyes, and repeat 3 times. This disciple acknowledges her faults. Shen Qingtang had misgivings. This master sounded suspiciously like a con artist. Even so, she closed her eyes and pressed her hands together. This disciple acknowledges her faults. This disciple acknowledges her faults. This disciple acknowledges her faults. Upon finishing the 3rd repetition, the voice in her head shifted completely, sounding playful and barely holding back laughter. All right, cut that out. Keep going, and you might convince yourself you need saving. Shen Qingtang's eyes flew open. She recognized that voice. She would never forget it. It belonged to the person who had kept feeding her steamed buns until she could not stomach them anymore. It's you? Yep, it's me. Jiang Sun's voice dripped with amusement. How are those steamed buns? I can get you more, unlimited supply. Shen Qingtang's face flushed bright red, then turned ashen. She snatched up her broken bowl and looked all around, searching for his physical form. There was not a single stranger in sight. You are unbelievable, she hissed toward empty air. You nearly gave me a heart attack. Misfortune looming over you. You ought to go set up a fortune-telling stall by the overpass. Back in his secret realm, Jiang Sun laughed until his sides hurt. I saw you sitting there all alone, just trying to liven things up. Get lost. Fine, I'll stop teasing, Jiang Sun said, his tone turning serious. I need to tell you something important. Shen Qingtang fell silent. If anyone from the Yuan cult makes contact with you, or if anything strange happens in the Western District, tell me right away. You don't need to do anything risky. Just pass along information. Shen Qingtang stayed quiet. She had long wondered how he kept locating her. Now he could speak directly inside her mind. Was he keeping her under surveillance? She knew asking for explanations would get her nowhere. Why me? She asked. Fate brought us together. You are not truly evil. I believe you can still change for the better. Do we have an understanding? Annoying as he was, he had never harmed her. Understood. Satisfied, Jiang Sun severed the boundless communication link. It had cost only a trivial amount of mana. His natural mana regeneration outpaced the drain easily. He stretched his arms and felt excellent. His 3 companions handled all the experience farming. Ling Yu took care of ranked battles. And he got to stir up trouble. Life was great. Aoki City, Eastern District, Teleportation Array Plaza. Xing Yao stood on the steps at the edge of the plaza, her face blank as she stared ahead. 3 seconds ago, Jiang Sun had been among the crowd munching on a steamed bun. A mischievous grin spread across his face. 3 seconds later, he was gone in a flash. In the turn of a head, not even a trace remained. He had vanished completely on the spot. Xing Yao chewed the candy in her mouth twice and swallowed it. How many times was this now? The 100-and-something th. As an auxiliary star with over 100 years of service, she had served 7 or 8 primary stars. She had met cautious ones, low-key ones, and workaholics who grinded for levels non-stop. But she had never met anyone like Jiang Sun. This kid could be in 800 different places in a single day. In the morning he teased cats on West Old Street. By noon he was in the Rift Grotto outside Blackrock Town, spent 2 hours in his secret realm in the afternoon, and showed up at night. Every time he moved, it was via spatial teleportation. Good grief, Xing Yao's short legs were practically worn thin. Standing at only about 1.3 or 4 meters tall, she looked like a cute little girl. Yet she had been forced to turn into nothing more than a map-running errand runner. She would barely reach the edge of Jiang Sun's previous location, only for him to already jump to the next spot. As Auxiliary Star 12, she chased him around like a headless fly. What made it even more infuriating was what had happened last time. When she noticed Jiang Sun was missing, she immediately reported it. Auxiliary Star 1 dispatched an investigation team. 6th rank experts brought bronze mirrors and combed the area back and forth. And what was the result? He had simply returned to his bonded secret realm. His bonded secret realm left only faint spatial traces upon entry and exit, undetectable from the outside. As the team leader left, he said, "Get your facts straight before reporting next time. The Star Vault's manpower is not for pointless running around." Xing Yao still remembered the old men in the command center mocking her. "Hey, do you really believe what a child says? Maybe it's the boy who cried wolf. Kids will be kids. It's normal." Crack. Xing Yao looked down. The candy in her hand had been crushed in her grip. She took 3 deep breaths, brushed off the crumbs, pulled another candy from her robe, unwrapped it, and popped it into her mouth. "Calm down. I need to stay calm." As a 127-year-old veteran auxiliary star, she should not stoop to arguing with those old fools. Damn it all, I cannot stay calm. Not to mention all this running. What if he gets assassinated by the Cult of the Abyss when I am not watching? That would be total humiliation. For over 100 years serving primary stars, nothing had ever gone wrong. Was she going to suffer a setback because of this boy? Despite being ranked Auxiliary Star 12, her power was genuine. Very few auxiliary stars could defeat her, apart from Auxiliary Star 1 and a handful of other abnormal powerhouses. Thinking of this, she ground her teeth in frustration. Still, the problem needed solving. Jiang Sun teleported so frequently she could not keep up, which made protection impossible. If the Cult of the Abyss figured out his movement patterns and struck the instant he finished teleporting, she would not arrive in time. Not only would her reputation be ruined, she would have nowhere to hide from embarrassment. She stood there for a while, then turned toward the teleportation array. Back to headquarters. Taichu Divine City, Star Vault headquarters. Xing Yao passed through without obstruction and headed straight for the top floor. Inside the top floor Great Hall, an elderly man sat behind a desk, poring over documents. His features were stern, and he wore a star-patterned mask covering most of his face. Xing Yao walked in without beating around the bush. "Auxiliary Star 1, reassign my primary star. Send someone else to watch over this one." At those words, Auxiliary Star 1 smiled faintly. Seeing her small frame, he assumed she was throwing another childish tantrum. "What is the matter? Why would you want to quit all of a sudden?" "Good grief, this primary star teleports 800 times a day. I run back and forth and cannot keep up. My legs are worn thin. Either give me the shadow concealment skill." The old man lifted his head. His eyes behind the mask swept over her from head to toe. Auxiliary Star 12 was a seasoned auxiliary star. It was unthinkable that a first-rank primary star could frustrate her this badly. Truly unprecedented. Primary Star Rank 3, Jiang Sun. Xing Yao put another candy in her mouth and chewed. He moves entirely by spatial teleportation. He changes locations several times each day, and I cannot keep up. If I cannot keep up, there are gaps in his protection. If the Cult of the Abyss discovers his patterns and strikes the moment he teleports in, I will not even be able to reach him. Auxiliary Star 1 said nothing, merely watching her. He is an imprint summoner. Auxiliary Star 1 spoke. SSS rank. He shattered the historical record for the first rank trial. None of the 7 or 8 primary stars you have served compare to his potential. I know that. You know, yet you still cannot keep up? Xing Yao's mouth twitched. His teleportation frequency outpaces even my Void Walker abilities. This has nothing to do with skill. I simply lack the proper tools. Her expression darkened. No one would believe that a Void Walker like me cannot keep pace with a first-rank summoner. Shadow Concealment, Platinum rank skill. Merge into your target's shadow. Wherever the shadow goes, you go. Most importantly, it carries you through spatial teleportation as well. Auxiliary Star 1 said slowly. Do you understand how precious this Platinum rank skill is? Will you give it to me or not? Auxiliary Star 1 fell silent for a moment. I can give it to you, but Star Vault rules state Platinum rank skills cannot be handed out for free. What are the terms? Your standing as Auxiliary Star 12 is 1 tier below what this skill warrants. His gaze settled on her. If you want it, offer something in exchange. Xing Yao frowned. I have no money. I do not want your money. Auxiliary Star 1 shook his head. Jiang Sun has drawn quite a bit of attention lately. Even the Grand Speaker has inquired about him. Staying close to him, you will witness things no one else can. The Star Vault wants intelligence on him. Want is too strong a word. Merely documentation. His tone remained flat. Submit monthly reports on his growth trajectory to the command center. You decide what and how much to report. Xing Yao thought it over. The task was not difficult. She was already keeping track of such things anyway. Deal. Without further preamble, Auxiliary Star 1 pulled a skill scroll out from under his desk. He pushed it toward her. Shadow Concealment, Platinum rank. Yours. Xing Yao took the jade scroll, scanned its contents with her spiritual sense, and nodded. Thank you, Auxiliary Star 1. Do not thank me. His voice betrayed no emotion. Once you master this skill, you will become Jiang Sun's shadow. Xing Yao did not reply and turned to leave. Training ground. Xing Yao sat cross-legged on the ground and carefully studied the scroll. The principle behind shadow concealment was not overly complex. Transform your body into shadow substance and attach yourself to your target's shadow. Where the target moves, you move. Where the target teleports, you teleport. The hard part was the transformation. You had to fully convert your physical form into shadow substance. One misstep, and you might turn into nothing but a shadow forever. She closed her eyes and attempted the first activation. A cold sensation rose from her soles. Her skin tingled, as if her whole body was dissolving into liquid. She felt a flicker of hope. It was working. The next instant, searing pain shot through all her limbs. Her half-transformed body recoiled, nearly twisting her whole form out of shape. She quickly halted and opened her eyes. Looking down, her left forearm was translucent, bones visible beneath the surface. She shook her arm until it solidified again. The pain made her grimace. Platinum rank skills truly were not easy to master. There was no instant system-assisted mastery. She had to comprehend and practice step by step. She steadied herself and tried a second time. This time transformation stalled at her shoulders. On the third attempt, she transformed too thoroughly and nearly flattened herself across the ground like a sheet of paper. She lay prone on the ground for a long while before forcing herself back upright. Over 100 years as an auxiliary star, and she had nearly been defeated by a skill. Fortunately, Xing Yao had endless patience. She popped another candy into her mouth, chewed, and sat cross-legged once more. After the better part of a day, she finally grasped the skill completely. When she stood up again, she sank toward the ground, merging into the training ground's shadow without releasing the slightest trace of aura. She dispelled the skill and walked over toward a young man reviewing documents. You. Teleport. The young man was an aide under Auxiliary Star 4, stunned by her order. Huh? Teleport where? Anywhere. Right now, immediately. The aide muttered inwardly, but dared not disobey someone of Auxiliary Star 12's rank. Closing his eyes, he flickered and reappeared 50 meters away. Xing Yao stood where she was and glanced down at her own shadow. Its outline rippled briefly before settling. In the next breath, she was standing right behind the aide. He spun around, nearly jumping in fright. Auxiliary Star 12. When did you? Never mind that. Xing Yao waved him off. Do it again, teleport much farther this time. The aide swallowed hard and teleported all the way to the next city district. Xing Yao followed. Standing on a street corner in the neighboring district, she examined her fully solid body and allowed herself a small smile. It worked. Teleportation carried her along perfectly. She unwrapped another candy, popped it in her mouth, and crunched it loudly. Jiang Sun, now where can you run? Humph. Even if you are a grasshopper hopping nonstop, I can keep up with you now. Opening her mental communication panel, she sent a message. Auxiliary Star 12 online. Target, Primary Star Rank 3 Jiang Sun. Protection Mode, Close Proximity Attachment. The reply came instantly. Close Proximity Attachment? Are you certain? Absolutely. From now on, I own his shadow. Xing Yao's figure faded on the spot, melting into the corner's shadows. Far away, the teleportation array plaza lit up. The light originated from Aoki City. Jiang Sun pushed open the dusty wooden door of the Summoner's Guild, which creaked loudly. The ground floor hall was empty except for a front desk girl dozing off. The guild remained shabby. Compared with the 5-story Warriors Guild across the street, it looked like a run-down hovel. Jiang Sun had come looking for Zhao Taizhan. Where is Elder Zhao? The girl blinked awake sleepily. Upstairs. What are you here for? Are you here to take over as our guild master? Apparently Jiang Sun had once sat in Elder Zhao's chair, leaving her with quite the impression. Jiang Sun tramped up the stairs. Zhao Taizhan was indeed sitting behind his desk brewing tea. His eyes lit up upon seeing Jiang Sun enter. Well, look who's here. It has been ages. I thought you had forgotten all about me. How could I? I could never forget Elder Zhao. Jiang Sun grinned, sat down opposite him without invitation, grabbed a cup, and poured himself tea. Zhao Taizhan sized him up. Speak your mind. You never drop by without a reason. What are you hoping to get out of me this time? Elder Zhao, would you think I am that sort of person? Yes. Zhao Taizhan answered without hesitation. Jiang Sun laughed and dropped the pretense. All right, I will cut to the chase. My secret realm's second layer is a large forest, mostly unused. I want to build a breeding compound there. A breeding compound? Right. Raise livestock for food. A few spiked porcupines. Once mature, I can sell them in the city for steady income. Zhao Taizhan nodded. Spiked porcupines are a solid choice. Hearty, good-tasting meat, high market demand. You have quite the plan. I also want spirit beasts. Enclose some low-rank spirit beast cubs. Raise them for materials or sell them as companion beasts. That is another viable income stream. Zhao Taizhan sipped his tea slowly. Does the second layer have existing beast pens? There is an old stone-built compound, half collapsed. It can be repaired. Very well. Zhao Taizhan set down his teacup. I will source repair materials for you. They are inexpensive. I know a breeder in southern logistics town who raises strong porcupine young. I will put in a word. You can go pick your stock directly. As for spirit beast cubs, he paused. I have channels for low-rank ones, but quality varies greatly. You must select them yourself to avoid being swindled. Jiang Sun cupped his hands gratefully. Thank you, Elder Zhao. I owe you one. Save the formalities. Zhao Taizhan chided with a smile and studied him. Do not worry about payment right now. Use the supplies first. Repay the Summoners Guild when you can afford it. Jiang Sun felt warmth in his heart. The old man truly treated him like a junior. The Summoners Guild had always been good to him. By the way, Elder Zhao, you hear all the news. Has anything major happened in the city lately? Zhao Taizhan looked surprised, then waved a hand. I am just a vice guild master minding the place. I have no special intelligence. Stop chasing gossip and focus on growing stronger. Jiang Sun did not press further. He drank 2 more cups of tea and took his leave. He had no idea that within his shadow, a pair of eyes had observed every word of that conversation. Huddled inside Jiang Sun's shadow, Xing Yao wore a blank expression. She was annoyed watching him chat with Elder Zhao. Leaving the guild, Jiang Sun turned into an empty alley and leaped back into his secret realm. The first layer's fertile plains basked in bright sunlight. His mother Su Xiaolan squatted beside rice paddies, discussing spirit rice growth with Uncle A Sheng. Seeing the scene filled Jiang Sun with contentment. He was a man of property now. He summoned Granny Rong and explained the plan to repair the breeding pens on the second layer. Granny Rong already had manpower ready. Thanks to the abundant elemental energy within the secret realm, several members of the Rongwei tribe had advanced to first rank. Granny Rong assembled a team of 10 first-rank tribesfolk, all trained for breeding work. He led the group up to the second layer dense forest. Lush greenery filled the woods, birds sang, and flowers bloomed. He located the abandoned stone pens he remembered. Ruined stone walls, a gaping hole in the roof, weeds growing everywhere inside. Jiang Sun circled it, satisfied. The wall spanned roughly 100 meters on each side, enough to hold 100 head of livestock. Repair the walls, rebuild the roof, divide separate enclosures. 100 spiked porcupines, new stock every 3 months, each selling for a good sum. He would hold off on spirit beasts for now. More preparations and materials were still needed. With nothing else pressing, he joined the Rongwei tribesfolk and got to work. Rolling up his sleeves, he hauled stones and rebuilt fences. Halfway through the work, he stood up and wiped sweat from his forehead. This labor was tiring. Maybe he ought to assign Iron Ball to manual labor. Yes, Iron Ball could transform into a giant metal golem. One such golem could do the work of 100 men moving stones. As he pondered how to make the most of his summoned beast, a voice suddenly sounded behind him. Jiang Sun. Jiang Sun nearly jumped out of his skin. No one stood behind him. Where had that voice come from? He frowned, about to snap, when he noticed something odd about his shadow. Beneath the sunlight, the stretched shadow bulged in one spot. Then that bulge slowly stood upright. A girl roughly 1.34 meters tall emerged from the shadow, doll-faced, impassive, holding a candy in her hand. Jiang Sun's eyes went wide. How did you get in here? Xing Yao popped the candy into her mouth and crunched it, speaking in a flat, work report tone. Shadow concealment. I hid inside your shadow. When you entered the secret realm, I came along. This is my bonded secret realm. Why did I sense nothing at all? I know. Xing Yao nodded. That is why I told you straight out, so you do not end up terrified later discovering your shadow can talk. Jiang Sun fell speechless. His mind raced. His bonded secret realm was supposed to bar uninvited intruders. As if reading his thoughts, Xing Yao explained, You brought me in by carrying me with you. Effectively, you gave me entry permission. Jiang Sun opened and closed his mouth. So you can follow me anywhere you want from now on? Yes. Xing Yao nodded again. Wherever you go, I go. Jiang Sun's vision swam. This was terrible. All his lazy moments, private complaints, everything he did inside his secret realm would be witnessed by this girl. Hey, can we work out some arrangement? Xing Yao's expression darkened. My name is Xing Yao. Fine, fine, Sister Xing Yao. Could you maybe give me a little personal space? No, Xing Yao cut him off. It is my duty. If you get assassinated by the cult of the abyss, my 100-year-old professional reputation will be ruined because of you. Jiang Sun sighed. You make this sound like so much pressure. Was she really only worried about her reputation? His own life was on the line. If he had known how often she had failed to keep up before, he would have been far more cautious. Ignoring his remark, Xing Yao pulled another candy from her robe, unwrapped it, and ate it. After chewing, she spoke with unusual seriousness. Jiang Sun, I have important news. The Great Xia has discovered a new secret realm placed under Star Vault jurisdiction. Jiang Sun blinked. A secret realm? What kind? A high-yield experience secret realm. Experience multipliers far exceed ordinary secret realms, plus rare material drops. Star Vault plans to send a group of newly awakened primary stars inside to explore, both for training and evaluation. Only first, rank professions are permitted entry. Preliminary exploration by Great Xia confirms the strongest creatures inside do not exceed early second rank. Okay, so what does that have to do with me? Your name is on the list. Jiang Sun blinked once, then blinked again. What? Me? The list was compiled by Star Vault. You just need to go. Jiang Sun put on an exaggerated coy act. But I am just a poor, helpless B-rank spirit summoner. Throwing me in among all these geniuses would put me under so much pressure. Xing Yao shot him a sideways glance. Keep up the act. SSS, rank talent, SSS, rank class. Helpless my foot. Jiang Sun fell silent. So they expected him to keep pretending to be ordinary. All right, what benefits do I get for going? Experience secret realm, experience multiplier multiplied several times. Isn't rapid leveling, up and advancement a great benefit? That was true. As a game, like World, the core of Guanlan was killing monsters, gaining equipment, upgrading skills, and forging oneself into an overwhelmingly powerful being. Experience was indeed one of the fundamental resources. And who needed experience the most? Naturally, it was him, Jiang Sun, the summoner with the SSS, rank talent universal experience points. Let little Jiang Sun think. How much total experience did an ordinary professional need to reach peak tier 1 level 99? He had learned this at school. It took over 40 million experience points. You heard that right, a whopping 40-odd million. The experience, gain scaling in Guanlan was absolutely brutal. For Jiang Sun, he also had to level up his 4 summoners alongside himself, multiplying the requirement by 4, more than 100 million experience points. Just thinking about it made his head throb. His 3 summoners could only earn tens of thousands of experience points per day through auto-farming. At this rate, it would take forever. I'll go. I'm in. Xing Yao nodded in satisfaction. Good. Keep a low profile once you get there. Don't worry. I'm a pro at keeping my head down. Xing Yao. Something about that statement felt unsettling, yet she said no more. She turned and slipped back into Jiang Sun's shadow. Before vanishing, she tossed out a warning. By the way, 3 SSS rank talents are on this mission list. Every SSS rank awakened across Great Xia this year is joining this trip. Farewell, Little Grasshopper. Little Grasshopper? Where on earth had that nickname come from? Before Jiang Sun could voice his confusion, Xing Yao had completely disappeared into his shadow. No matter how he called out to her, she gave no reply. He could tell how much resentment Xing Yao held from that nickname alone. Jiang Sun stood frozen in place for 3 full seconds. 3 SSS ranks? He clicked his tongue. Times were about to change. In previous years, there had only been 1 or 2 SSS rank geniuses annually. Now 3 appeared in a single year. Wait, counting himself, that made 4. Whoa. Jiang Sun was filled with anticipation. He was eager to see what these fellow SSS rank talent or profession holders were really like. Secret Realm First Layer, Fertile Plains. A 13 or 14-year-old girl was doing handstands on the grass. Her calves dangled and swayed in the air, her face flushed bright red. She mumbled over and over. Jiang Sun is unmatched, his banner shall prevail. Jiang Sun is unmatched, his banner shall prevail. 2 passing members of the Fur-Tail tribe listened for a while and scratched their heads. What is this kid chanting? Brother Jiang Sun is incredibly handsome? The other Fur-Tribal member lowered his voice. Shh, don't interrupt. She's performing some mysterious ritual. Jiang Xiaoxiao had been moving about on handstands for 3 whole days. Day 1 had been exciting. Day 2 was sheer gritted, teeth endurance. Now she was on the verge of tears. That self-proclaimed Almighty Supreme from 10 million years ago had promised to pass down his power once the 3-day ritual finished. And what had happened? 3 days had gone by without the slightest sign. Upside, down, and miserable, Jiang Xiaoxiao's mutterings drifted off script. Old sir, come on, where's the promised power transfer, the strength to flick my brother on the forehead? Where did that online power, granting old man go? She had already imagined exactly how she would use that power against her brother. Flick him on the forehead, pin him to the ground, and force him to call her elder sister. All of those plans had fallen apart. Liar. Total fraud. The more she thought about it, the sadder she grew. Her eyes welled up, and she shouted at the top of her lungs, "Give me a refund! Give me my refund!" Not far away, Jiang Sun squatted on a field ridge munching a watermelon. Watching his sister muttering away upside down, he kept a straight face and pretended not to hear a thing. But the corners of his mouth kept twitching upward. Silly girl. She had actually kept up the handstands for 3 whole days. That almighty supreme and peerless divine skill? It was just him fooling around, distorting his voice through boundless communication. He had only meant to tease her a little. Never had he expected her to take it so seriously and stubbornly persist for 3 days. Seeing her miserable yet determined expression filled Jiang Sun with amusement. Teasing his sister was far more entertaining than monster hunting. Jiang Sun finished his last bite of watermelon and wiped his mouth, thoroughly pleased. 3 days earlier, right after unlocking boundless communication, he had played this prank on his sister. Who could have guessed she would be so gullible? Evening arrived. Jiang Xiaoxiao's strength finally gave out. Her arms buckled, and she flopped onto the grass with a thud. She lay there, cheek pressed against the turf, close to weeping. Old sir, you lied. My arms are almost broken. Jiang Sun watched from afar, barely holding back laughter. He cleared his throat and used boundless communication once more to project that hoary old voice directly into Jiang Xiaoxiao's mind. Young one, you have persisted for 3 days. Your resolve is commendable, and I am most gratified. Jiang Xiaoxiao jolted and lifted her head sharply. Old sir, you've finally come. I was secluded refining medicine and lost track of time. Listen closely. From today onward, face east at the hour of the dragon each dawn, take a deep breath, and recite in your heart. Jiang Sun is the handsomest under heaven. After 49 days of this practice, you shall attain preliminary mastery. Old sir, that chant sounds really strange. This is a secret art passed down within my sect. Do not question it. Remember this well. Though doubtful, Jiang Xiaoxiao thought of the peerless divine skill and nodded firmly. All right, I've got it. Jiang Sun withdrew his voice transmission and rolled on the grass laughing. Face east at dawn and repeat. Jiang Sun is the handsomest under heaven for 49 days. If she really followed through, his status at home would be completely secured. He stretched lazily, in high spirits. 3 days prior, Xingyao had told him about the secret realm. The assembly was scheduled for tomorrow. These past 3 days had been incredibly pleasant for Jiang Sun. Eat and sleep, sleep and eat. He wandered around the secret realm, teased the tail tribe children, and watched his sister doing handstands. Life could not get much better. Iron Ball, Salted Fish, and Hachi, Mimi happily farmed monsters for their Taskmaster master within the Rift Cavern. Through their summoning contract, he could feel the dull thuds of Iron Ball smashing foes. Ling Yu climbed ranks in the Void Spirit Tower, maintaining an unbroken win streak. Notably, after 20 consecutive victories, each match awarded 200 points as long as the streak held. His points surged rapidly. Unfortunately, the Void Spirit Tower limited ranked matches to 30 per day. Old Lady Rong and his mother squatted beside rice paddies, observing the growth of spirit rice. Tail tribesmen labored away building beast enclosures. Everything was peaceful and prosperous. Jiang Sun lay back on the grass, legs crossed, gazing up at the blue sky. Summons did all the work while he reaped rewards. Even immortals could hardly ask for more. His only minor annoyance was holding back laughter whenever Jiang Xiaoxiao hobbled past upside down. Suppressing his amusement gave him stomach cramps. 3 days slipped by. Tomorrow was assembly day. Lying on the grass, Jiang Sun began planning for what lay ahead. Suddenly, he sat bolt upright. A critical thought struck him. That secret realm only permitted Tier 1 professionals entry. Xingyao was Tier 6, which meant she could not follow him inside. Jiang Sun's expression darkened little by little. He had been so caught up thinking about boosted experience multipliers that he had completely overlooked this detail. Without Xingyao, He would be entirely on his own inside the secret realm. As a summoner with low personal defense, vulnerable and helpless, losing his powerful tier 6 bodyguards spelled real danger. What would he do if disaster struck? The more he thought, the more anxious he grew. Everyone knew he was a summoner who valued his life greatly. Death in Guanlan was permanent. There was no respawn mechanic. Even healers possessed no resurrection skills. Die, and you were gone forever. Dying countless times within the Void Spirit Tower meant nothing. Those deaths were illusory. But real, world, or secret, realm deaths were final. He still had his mother, his little sister, his newly started breeding grounds, and many summoners relying on him. Dying in the secret realm would be a catastrophic loss. Unable to sit still any longer, he sprang to his feet. Preparation was essential. He tallied his strengths. For damage output, Mana Bullet Silver LV.5 dealt over 10,000 damage per basic strike. Though still outmatched by fully optimized tier 1 peak 99 mages, his current firepower was sufficient. No professional reached tier 1 peak within a single year. Besides, his damage did not rely solely on himself. Ling Yu could unleash over 70,000 damage, outperforming any tier 1 fighter. Iron Ball provided brute force, and Salted Fish handled healing. His team had grown extraordinarily powerful without him noticing. What was he lacking? Survival capability. Though he possessed the newcomer king's blessing and life, guard shield, extra health would never hurt. He needed to raise his maximum health. When danger came, he had to stay alive long enough for his summoners to fight. If the summoner got instantly eliminated, everything fell apart. 3 days of auto farming had yielded satisfying universal experience points. Universal experience points, 201,200 A, full 212,000 points gained. His attribute stats had also improved. Plunder effect of Seal Summoner obtained, plus 30 stamina, plus 21 strength, plus 26 agility, plus 36 intelligence. If he kept farming like this, sooner or later his attributes would surpass most professionals. Right now, the best way to boost survivability was his passive skill Vitality Source. Currently black, Iron LV.9, granting over 2,000 bonus health and 28 health regeneration per second. This boost had been substantial before tier 1, yet its benefits were now diminishing. That settled it. He would invest in Vitality Source. He leaped upward straight to the secret realm's 5th layer. Beneath the Yuan, gathering steel, vital energy hung thick in the air. He had to make full use of the universal experience cost reduction. Sitting cross-legged, he opened his status panel and located his passive Vitality Source. Vitality Source, black, Iron LV.9. Elevating it all the way to Bronze LV.9 normally cost more than 170,000 experience. With the 70% discount on the 5th layer, it would only set him back a little over 50,000. Jiang Sun poured in the points without hesitation. Warm currents flooded his limbs, and numbers on his panel flickered wildly. Universal experience points, 3,000. Vitality Source black, Iron LV.9 Vitality Source Bronze LV.1. Health plus 6,810. Regeneration per second 28 Universal experience points, 3,600. Vitality Source Bronze LV.1 Vitality Source Bronze LV.2. Health plus 6,910. Regeneration per second 32. Universal experience points, 4,320. Vitality Source Bronze LV.2 Vitality Source Bronze LV.3. Health plus 7,010. Regeneration per second 36. He advanced all the way to Bronze LV.9. Glancing at his stats, he gasped. Vitality Source Bronze LV.9. Health plus 7,610. Regeneration per second 60 black. Iron Max had only given 20, 600 health, and 28 regeneration. Now those values had more than tripled. Combined with his life, guard shield, his effective durability was so high that hordes of tier 1 monsters would struggle to kill him quickly. Jiang Sun patted his chest, feeling much safer. 148,000 universal experience points remained. He gritted his teeth and poured everything into Vitality Source. Health was his foundation. Bronze, rank 70, 600 bonus was impressive, yet he hungered for more. Breaking through to silver rank cost 15,000 discounted points. At silver rank, each level added 250 health and 8 points of regeneration per second. He kept investing. Universal experience points, 15,000. Vitality Source Bronze LV.9 Vitality Source Silver LV.1. Health plus 34,760. Regeneration per second 226. Universal experience points, 15,000. Vitality Source Silver LV.1 Vitality Source Silver LV.2 Health plus 35,010 Regeneration per second 234 Universal Experience Points 30180 Vitality Source Silver LV 6 Vitality Source Silver LV.7 Health plus 36,260 Regeneration per second 274. Jiang Sun stared at his panel in shock. Vitality Source Silver LV.7 Health plus 36,260 Regeneration per second 274. Black Iron Max had given 20,600 health. Bronze Max had given 70,600. Now he surged to 36,000 bonus health. Advancing a skill's quality tier yielded the most dramatic stat jumps. Truly, his universal experience points were overpowered. Others could only max skills at LV.9. He could raise skill quality to entirely new ranks. This was genuine power growth. His progress halted here, not for lack of desire, but because his universal experience pool was nearly empty, leaving only 1,700 points. Jiang Sun exhaled in relief. He was genuinely prepared now. With over 40,000 base health plus more than 20,000 shield health, his total effective health exceeded 60,000. What could threaten him now? More health meant greater survival odds. Next came equipment. The whole point of grinding the Void Spirit Tower was obtaining Void Spirit gear and skills. He opened the Void Spirit shop. In merely 3 days, points balance, 20,300. Jiang Sun grinned. Ling Yu had worked relentlessly these 3 days. 30 matches each day, all victories. After 20 win streaks awarding 200 points each, she had earned 18,000 points total. He spent freely, first purchasing Void Spirit Step. Void Spirit Step, Bronze, LV.1. Teleport 12 meters toward a designated direction. Cooldown, 30 seconds. Cost, 2,000 points. 12-meter teleportation, an excellent escape skill. He could teleport anywhere within that maximum range. Summoners were fragile and feared close range ambushes. With this skill, assassins could hardly close in on him. Next he bought 3 summoner-specific Void Spirit pieces. Void Spirit Bracers Summoner Rank, Bronze Defense, plus 130 bonus, Spell Attack, plus 140. A pair of translucent cyan, blue spirit, infused bracers covering from the wrists to mid-forearm. A swirling golden summoning contract seal was sealed within them. When casting spells, pale blue light draped his forearms, and fine glimmers spilled from his fingertips. Void Spirit Cloak Summoner Rank, Black, Iron Defense, plus 65 bonus, Evasion plus 8%. A knee-length short cloak with deep indigo fabric edged with silvery spirit thread. As its wearer moved, its hem trailed faint lingering afterimages. Contract runes were embroidered hidden inside the hood, glowing fully when activated. Void Spirit Belt Summoner Rank, Black, Iron Defense, plus 55 bonus, Health plus 800. A wide sash belt with a translucent dark, purple crystal buckle holding an endlessly swirling wisp of golden light. 4 short charm pendants hung from both sides, carved with simplified beast patterns: tiger, fish, bird, cat. Each pendant lit up whenever its corresponding summoner was present. Quite ingenious. Could it detect active summoners? If Jiang Sun possessed 100 summoners, would it sprout 100 pendants? He wondered in amusement. These were the finest pieces of gear he had ever owned. He ran his hands over them, thoroughly delighted. Total expenditure for the 3 pieces, 7,700 points. He valued the Void Spirit set because it was among the most accessible high-quality gear for professionals. Other sets, even single good pieces, were extraordinarily rare and prohibitively expensive. The Void Spirit set also granted set bonuses, activating starting from 2 equipped pieces. 2. Piece set bonus. All summoners' attributes plus 12%, maximum health plus 15%. Damage taken by summoner reduced by 10%. 3. Piece set bonus. For each active summoner, summoner defense plus 15%, capped at plus 60% for 4 summoners. When a summoner's health drops below 30%, regenerate 3% of their maximum health each second. Jiang Sun donned all 3 pieces and learned the Void Spirit Step skill scroll in his waist pouch. You have learned skill, Void Spirit Step Bronze LV.1. Now he was truly ready. Massive health, a teleport escape skill, plus set, base damage reduction. Entering the secret realm ought to be safe. Including set bonuses, his raw health exceeded 50,000. He stretched and checked the time. Assembly was at the hour of the dragon tomorrow at the Ling Shu Pavilion branch. Standing beneath the yuan, gathering steel, Jiang Sun looked over his revamped status panel brimming with confidence. B. Rank Battle Spirit Summoner? Keep a low profile. He was an expert at that. Speaking of which, 3 SSS rank talents would attend tomorrow. And there was Duanmu Li, rumored to also be a summoner. This would be interesting. Jiang Sun grinned, lay down beneath the steel, and prepared to rest. He eagerly awaited meeting those outstanding geniuses. He was just an innocent, vulnerable little summoner, or so he mischievously told himself. He slept soundly through the night. He could not recall resting so well in a long time. He almost felt like a worker destined for endless labor. 300 years had passed since games descended upon reality. Why was this little summoner in such a rush? 3 days of auto farming consisted of fooling around, teasing his sister, and sleeping over 2.5 days. Sleep really was good for his complexion. He ruffled his messy hair and reluctantly crawled out of his warm blanket. Even a wonderful blanket had to be left behind. He was a summoner with goals and aspirations. If blankets had minds, this one would surely be yelling at him to get out. All real work was done by his summoners, while he lazed about. Where exactly were those lofty ambitions? This Star K organization's secret Realm Exploration Party held 10 members. 3 SSS rank talents would be present, and he, ostensibly B rank, would blend in among them. It promised great excitement. He wondered why those geniuses chose not to conceal their talent or profession ranks. With Star K's capabilities, hiding such information would have been trivial. Perhaps they were genuinely powerful and saw no need for secrecy. Glancing toward his shadow, he wondered whether Xing Yao's ability to mask his true rank indicated some limitation on her part. Other geniuses displayed their SSS rank or SS rank status openly. Only Xing Yao had hidden his true class behind a B rank Battle Spirit Summoner facade. Inside the shadow, Xing Yao burned with frustration, almost driven to manifest in person just to pop him one on the forehead. What the hell is wrong with your eyes? Do you look down on me? Look me in the eye. Talk. Don't you know what kind of mess you are? You keep stirring up trouble non-stop. If I hadn't hidden your information, you would already be on the alien bounty list right now. If Xing Yao showed up, Jiang Sun would never dare to provoke this fierce woman. He freshened up briefly, stood before the mirror, and put on what he thought was a handsome grin, then flicked his hair. Today he was going to watch a show. He had already mapped out the whole plan last night. Play the weakling, never reveal his true strength. Watch these geniuses perform, secretly stir up some trouble on the side, and above all else, farm universal experience points. If there really were great treasures inside the secret realm, then he would play the part of a senior elder. Such great opportunities were far too much for these juniors to bear. At this moment, Jiang Sun finally understood why senior characters in all novels loved snatching opportunities away from youngsters. From the perspective of one person robbing another, you could try to see it from their angle. But imagine this real-life scenario. You spot a tiny puppy carrying a $100 note in its mouth, and there is nobody else around. It would be strange if you felt no temptation at all. Alas, you cannot handle this great fortune. It could bring you mortal danger, so I shall graciously take it for myself. At worst, I will buy you a sausage in exchange. The little puppy would probably bark happily in thanks. Without further ado, Jiang Sun summoned all 4 of his summoned beasts back to him. There was no need to teleport to their locations. Direct summoning worked. My summoned babies, it is time for you to face new challenges. Simply killing weak cannon fodder monsters is not all that fun. When Iron Ball returned from the Rift Grotto, half of an armored lizard's shell still hung from his body. He wore a regretful look, as if he had not gotten enough fighting, and kept muttering, "Master, I want to smash more. I want to smash 100 more." Saltfish floated mid-air, one eye half closed, looking half asleep. It yawned. "Oh wow, let this young lady see. Where exactly are we going?" Hajime rubbed against his trouser leg, its tail tip flicking back and forth. Ling Yu was the calmest upon her return. Her silver, white feather dress stayed spotless. Her eyes held the arrogance of countless victories within the Void Spirit Pagoda. Paired with her gentle, big sister, like smile, she looked utterly radiant. "Where are we heading this time, master?" That soft voice, it was almost too charming to bear. Jiang Sun patted each of their heads one by one. All right, my babies. You get to rest today. You've worked non-stop for 3 days, you're worn out. Rest and recharge for the next round of work. Today I'll show you something special. You'll get to see a whole crowd of geniuses gathered in one place. Truly hard, working subordinates, being fed empty promises by their boss. He sent all summoned beasts except Iron Ball back into the nameless dimension. Jiang Sun decided to use only Iron Ball to test the waters. After all, He loved smashing things more than anyone. He let Iron Ball perch on his shoulder. The two looked oddly well matched, like a little devil clinging to Jiang Sun's shoulder, always egging him on to misbehave. By the time Jiang Sun reached the Spirit Pivot Pavilion in Qingmu City, morning glow had painted the sky. Sunlight spilled over the giant greenwood tree, making this floating metropolis look breathtaking. Yes, this was their gathering point, Qingmu City. Jiang Sun had originally hoped to visit other floating cities to see the sights. Every floating city possessed utterly unique features, and he had long been curious about them. There would be no chance for that this time. No matter, there would always be next time. With a swaggering gait, Jiang Sun strode boldly into the Qingmu branch of the Spirit Pivot Pavilion. Since it was still early, not many people were around. The Spirit Pivot Pavilion was a core Great Xia organization responsible for detecting and maintaining secret realm data. The Far Travel Division located secret realms, and the Spirit Pivot Pavilion researched them. Both organizations were shrouded in mystery. One would only catch glimpses of them in official announcements, releasing updates on secret, realm rank shifts, and monster changes. Jiang Sun had never paid them much attention before. This was his perfect chance to see what they were really like. He walked inside, approached the front desk, and presented the token Xing Yao had given him for this expedition. Behind the counter stood a plump middle-aged woman. She glanced at Jiang Sun, then at Iron Ball on his shoulder. She looked rather incredulous. Someone so young taking part in a top-secret mission? Naturally, this star, alignment secret, realm exploration was classified. All the receptionist knew was that these people were heading off on confidential work. Her job was simply to guide anyone bearing the token to the assigned meeting room. Following her, Jiang Sun entered a spacious conference room where several people had already arrived. Wow, every single one of them stood out. At the front stood a man carrying an unsheathed longsword, his sharp brows cut like blades. Standing there, he resembled a drawn sword, with no one daring to step within 3 meters of him. The air itself seemed sliced apart. Jiang Sun clicked his tongue. This ought to be Gu Changfeng, SSS, grade sword, Qi soaring sky, the rising pinnacle of the new generation swordsman, the focus of the entire Great Xia. Still, his whole vibe felt a little over the top. One might mistake him for some teen cosplaying a sword god. When this blade is drawn, it must taste blood. Gu Changfeng held his sword and spoke quietly, yet his aura was overwhelming. Jiang Sun nodded vigorously inside his head. Exactly. That's the energy. What a classic line. You were born to be the dragon, protagonist. Beside Gu Changfeng stood a young woman holding a palm-sized juvenile dragon. Its scales were emerald green, and it bore a single horn on its forehead. Wait, why did that horn look soft and squishy? Was it malnourished from birth? The girl wore a frigid expression and had not said a single sentence longer than 3 words. Jiang Sun moved over to try striking up a conversation. They were both summoners. They might be able to swap summoning insights. Miss, your little dragon is gorgeous. What breed is it? Duan Muli shot him one glance. Just that single syllable. Unfazed, Jiang Sun tried again. What does it usually eat? I'm a summoner too. Maybe we can chat more later. This time Duan Muli did not even hum. She turned and walked away with the dragon in her arms. Jiang Sun, all right then. Either she was an extreme introvert or a master at putting on airs. Further off stood a female mage beneath the shade of a tree. A thin layer of frost covered the ground within 3 meters around her. Even in the height of summer, Jiang Sun shivered from a distance. That had to be Qin Yumian, SS, Great Frost Speaker, reputed to have the highest surface-level damage output of the team. Next to her, a lanky ranger rubbed his arms and complained, Sister Qin, can you tone down the cold? We're heading for a secret realm, not an ice cellar. We haven't even gotten there yet, and you're going to give me a cold. Qin Yumian did not lift her eyes. If you're cold, put on more clothes. The ranger fell silent. That lanky ranger was Lu Jinghong, S, grade Swiftgale. He was talkative and flirted with everyone he met. Spotting the unfamiliar Jiang Sun, he immediately sauntered over. Hey, new face? What's your talent in class? B, grade battle spirit, summoner. Jiang Sun answered innocently. Lu Jinghong froze. He looked Jiang Sun up and down several times, then laughed. B grade? How did you even get in here? Jiang Sun scratched his head with an innocent look. Maybe just lucky? Lu Jinghong laughed harder and turned to call out to the others. Hey everyone, look. We've got a B grade mixed into our team. Jiang Sun kept a simple-minded look on his face, but inwardly he was delighted. Laugh all you want. If a B grade made it here, why didn't you wonder what was really going on? A huge burly man stepped forward and clapped a hand heavily onto Jiang Sun's shoulder. The blow nearly sent Jiang Sun to his knees. The force felt like getting rammed by a large transport vehicle. Little brother, don't listen to his nonsense. Anyone on this list has real skill. The big man boomed in a thunderous voice. I'm Wu Tai S, grade brutal strength. I'll look out for you. Jiang Sun winced and rubbed his sore shoulder. He thought to himself, your way of looking out for people is way too forceful. Would your idea of protecting someone end up smashing their bones? Thanks, Brother Tai. Jiang Sun called out smoothly. Wu Tai's eyes lit up at the address. Hey, good brother. A young woman carrying a medicine basket stepped over, glaring at Wu Tai. Go easy. This lad is thin, you might hurt him. She turned to Jiang Sun with a gentle smile, pulled out a handful of pills from her basket, and pressed them into his hands. Hungry? I've got candy here, plus chi replenishing pills. Eat more, build up your physique. Jiang Sun stared down at the candies and pills in his hands, dumbfounded. I'm 18, not 8. Still, free candy was not to be turned down. Thanks, sister. Got any more? Bai Lu, overflowing with big sister, like concern, stuffed 2 more handfuls into his hands. Standing furthest to the side was another 2-meter tall giant. He folded his arms and watched the commotion, his expression screaming, I don't know any of these people. Guan Shangyue, SS, grade unbreakable barrier, the most physically imposing member of the team. Even peak bodybuilders would pale in comparison. He could carry mountains on his shoulders. Horses could run along his arms. Jiang Sun watched in amazement. Every single one of these people had such distinct personalities. Seeing everyone assembled, Guan Shangyue cleared his throat. The team leader hasn't arrived yet. Since we're waiting, why don't we get acquainted? Another young man with a sword at his waist stood opposite Gu Changfeng, arms crossed, never taking his eyes off Gu Changfeng. This must be Shen Xingzi from the files, SS, grade sword saint. Seeing this dynamic, Jiang Sun mentally drew a rivalry line between the two. Were swordsmen naturally born to clash? Sword-wielding powerhouses were said to be filled with unyielding sword intent. But did they have to want to fight the second they laid eyes on each other? So like repels like. Was this same class repulsion? Maybe swordsmen just had something wrong with their heads? Jiang Sun thought mischievously. Lastly, a short, odd, acting young man stood in the corner, counting on his fingers and muttering to himself. Heaven's secrets must not be told, must not be told. Mid-calculation, he suddenly lifted his head and stared straight at Jiang Sun. You are fated to meet disaster soon. Jiang Sun blinked in surprise. Everyone nearby turned to look over. Lu Jinghong was the first to laugh. There goes Master Meng again. Fortune telling for anyone he sees. Meng Xinghe wore a solemn face. This disaster cannot be run from, nor avoided. Outwardly, Jiang Sun nodded repeatedly. You're absolutely right, Master. Inside, wicked thoughts stirred. Disaster? Fine. I'll show you a disaster I make up on the spot. Silently, he planted a fate seal on every person present. Then he activated boundless communication, locked onto Meng Xinghe's fate seal, cleared his throat, and projected an aged voice directly into Meng Xinghe's mind. Xiaomeng. Meng Xinghe shuddered violently and spun around, scanning everywhere. Who are you? It matters not who I am. The old voice drawled slowly. I passed by and saw your divination is decent, so I shall give you a word of advice. You said this young man faces disaster. Do you realize that I am that disaster? Meng Xinghe's face turned deathly pale. He began counting furiously on his fingers, hands trembling. And, ancestor, are you the will of heaven? Or, you are not worthy to know my identity, but you have leaked heavenly secrets, and you shall be punished. Your punishment? Keep one eye closed for 3 days. If you dare open it early, I shall strike you down without mercy. Instantly Meng Xinghe obeyed, obediently shutting his left eye and seeing only through his right. Jiang Sun bit back laughter so hard his stomach hurt, keeping his face completely calm. He stepped forward pretending to be concerned. Master Meng, what happened to your eye? Is your vision playing tricks on you? Want me to blow on it for you? Meng Xinghe waved his hands in panic. No. This is my exclusive secret art, single, eye divine sight. You wouldn't understand. Jiang Sun folded his arms and watched him. Keep pretending, go right ahead. But inside Meng Xinghe's mind, chaos reigned. Something was very wrong with this young man. The moment he finished his fortune telling, that voice echoed inside his skull. It was uncanny. His calculations were genuine. According to his divination, this youth really was fated for disaster. Well, he could not afford to provoke this person. Meng Xinghe decided to keep his distance. This kid was far too strange. He would not attempt to read his fate again anytime soon. Before long, the team leader arrived. A middle-aged man in star, K official robes, flanked by two silent attendants. He swept his gaze across the group. Everyone present. Guan Shanhui nodded. All here. The team leader nodded. I will brief you on what we have discovered. The secret realm lies deep in the wilderness southwest below Qingmu City, more than 300 li in a straight line. That area is marked as a second-order low-level leveling zone. Roaming wild monsters are at minimum level 60, something first-order, and deeper in you will find second-order ones. Is everyone clear? Lu Jinghong clicked his tongue. Second-order low level? What if we run into second-order monsters? If you meet second-order monsters, run. The team leader spoke flatly. Your objective is the experience within the secret realm. There is no point fighting wild monsters to the death. Jiang Sun mentally ran through the numbers. Level 50, 60, something first-order monsters were trivial for these geniuses. Gu Changfeng could take them down with one strike. For him, only level 10, they sounded rather dangerous. Still, he was not worried. Iron Ball and the other three summoned beasts were all extremely capable fighters. Besides, he was supposed to be just a B-grade battle spirit. When real fighting broke out, he could just hang back and cheer them on. Right before departure, Xingyao appeared out of nowhere and quietly stood beside Jiang Sun. Nobody noticed her except Jiang Sun. She sent him a private voice transmission. Stay safe once you go inside. I cannot enter the secret realm. I will wait for all of you at the entrance. The other auxiliary star holders will do the same. Also keep a sharp eye out for anything out of the ordinary. Even though this mission is top secret, the Abyss cult might get wind of it. They delight in hunting human geniuses. 10 of this year's most talented individuals gathered together make the perfect target for them. Jiang Sun's heart skipped a beat. Don't scare me like that. I mean every word. Xingyao was unusually serious. She paused. We will travel with you across the wilderness all the way to the secret realm entrance, so you should be safe out there. Beings above second order cannot enter the secret realm. With your combined strength, you ought to handle any emergencies. After that, she melted into Jiang Sun's shadow. Jiang Sun nodded, yet unease gnawed at him. That sounded way too much like tempting fate. Light burst forth from the teleportation array. The team leader and the 10 geniuses stepped inside. A pillar of light shot skyward. The scenery of Qingmu City shrank rapidly before their eyes. Jiang Sun kept thinking about Meng Xinghe's warning. He remembered his classmate Master Wu had said something similar back in their group chat. Was he cursed to run into disasters everywhere he went? Mystic, Wind Wolf King Elite LV.60 HP, 175350 ATK, 11600 DF, 3655 skills, Gale, Claw Strike, Howl to Summon Pack. Jiang Sun glanced at the stat panel, not even blinking an eye. 175,000 HP? My Iron Ball alone has 64,000 HP. It could go in and trade blows and still take this thing down. He shrank to the very back of the group, moving with practiced ease. Iron Ball perched on his shoulder, eyes lighting up. Master, can we beat this wolf? Beat what? Jiang Sun lowered his voice. Today we watch them perform. Your job is to clap. Iron Ball, one sword from Gu Changfeng, one frost strike from Qin Yumian. The wolf pack fell before them like grass being mown. There was no need for him to fight, and he had no desire to. Plant seals, collect spoils, the full package. Jiang Sun licked his lips, mischievous thoughts swirling in his mind. The wolf pack appeared sooner than expected. The meadow rippled in the distance. Then more than 20 large gray-blue wolves surged over the slope. The lead beast was noticeably bigger than the rest, with a faint wind-shaped mark on its forehead, the mystic Wind Wolf King. The party stirred instantly. Let me at it. Let me go. Wu Tai charged forward first, hefting his giant axe over his shoulder and sprinting faster than anyone else. Lu Jinghong, however, made no move to attack. He rolled his eyes and shouted at the top of his lungs. Betting pool open. Bet how many wolves Brother Tai can kill. 3-1 odds. Bet how many strikes Sword Immortal Gu needs to clear them all. 10-1 odds. Jiang Sun at the back clicked his tongue. Wow, they could even set up a betting pool out here in the wilderness. Go Brother Tai. He cheered loudly, then quietly slowed his pace. Wu Tai reached the wolves and swung his axe hard, smashing it straight into one mystic Wind Wolf's forehead. The wolf was sent flying 3 meters, rolled across the ground, and climbed back onto its feet. Wu Tai stared in shock. It's still alive? Jiang Sun clicked his tongue from behind. Level 58 wolf, over 40,000 HP. Brother Tai's axe only scraped off a sliver of its health. Of course it isn't dead. Lu Jinghong laughed beside him. Great swing, Brother Tai, just a little lacking in damage. Wu Tai's face darkened. Just you wait. He was about to shout more encouragement when he saw Gu Changfeng slowly lift his hand. Move aside. Before Wu Tai could react, a sword, Qi whistled past his ear. It skimmed across the grass. 7 or 8 mystic. Wind wolves dropped in unison, like wheat cut by a scythe. Lu Jinghong's mouth fell open. One strike took 7. Shen Xingzi, who had been standing with folded arms, suddenly moved. Metal rang as he drew his sword. A flash of light, and another 7 or 8 wolves collapsed exactly the same way. I can do that too. Shen Xingzi sheathed his sword, his expression blank. Gu Changfeng did not even lift his eyelids. Just one word. Shen Xingzi's face darkened at once. Jiang Sun watched, thoroughly entertained. This drama was far more interesting than fighting wolves. Awesome swordsmanship, Brother Xing, he called out. I'd say your sword is even sharper than Brother Gu's. Shen Xingzi's mood lightened a little. He nodded with a dignified air. Only then did Gu Changfeng cast a glance at Jiang Sun. Jiang Sun quickly added, though Brother Gu's strike has more imposing momentum, to be fair. Shen Xingzi. Gu Changfeng. Wu Tai stamped his feet in frustration. Leave some for me. I haven't even gotten my second swing off. It was hardly Wu Tai's fault his axe hadn't killed a wolf. As an Iron Wall class, his strength lay in high HP and defense. When it came to raw damage output, he simply could not match the 2 sword cultivators. Qin Yumian wrapped the remaining wolves in a sheet of freezing frost. Lu Jinghong loosed 3 follow-up arrows to finish them off. Shen Xingzi shot Qin Yumian a glance. Why freeze them? I wasn't done killing. Qin Yumian ignored him. With a flick of her fingertips, 3 rigid frozen wolves floated over and lined up at Shen Xingzi's feet. Go ahead, she said. They're frozen solid. You want me to beat ice blocks? Shen Xingzi's face turned grim. You can still kill them frozen. Qin Yumian said flatly. Shen Xingzi huffed and turned away. Wu Tai immediately darted over. I'll take them. Frozen wolves are still wolves. Lu Jinghong suddenly remembered his betting pool. He counted on his fingers, his face turning green. 1 strike for 7. I'm going to go bankrupt over these bets. Wu Tai laughed loudly. Serves you right for opening a pool. What are you laughing at? You lost your single copper coin too. Jiang Sun was busy. While the battle descended into chaos, he had slipped to the edge of the fray, quietly planting life seals on every single wolf. 1, 2, 3. As wolves fell one after another, system notifications popped up in his mind. Non-stop. Life seal plunder triggered. Constitution +1. Life seal plunder triggered. Agility +1. Life seal plunder triggered. Strength +1. Jiang Sun could barely hold back his grin. He ducked his head and pretended to tie his shoelaces. Other people fought monsters. He collected dividends. This deal was pure profit. Seeing most of its pack wiped out, the mystic Wind Wolf King threw back its head. Its jaws stretched wide. A low rumble vibrated in its throat. Beneath the crescent moon, it prepared to unleash its signature howl. It's summoning more wolves. Guan Shanwei roared. The 2-meter-tall giant charged forward. Each heavy step thudded against the ground. He held his shield horizontal like a solid wall. He slammed it straight into the Wolf King's open maw, choking the howl before it could escape. Old Guan's shield is tougher than a wall. Lu Jinghong sighed. Jiang Sun subtly flicked his fingertip. A life seal landed soundlessly on the Wolf King's forehead. Summon or not, this beast wasn't getting away. Knocked backward by the shield, the Wolf King struggled to break free. Before it could thrash, Qin Yumian waved her hand. Water vapor condensed into an arm, thick ice spike that pierced clean through the Wolf King's skull. 175,000 HP vanished in an instant. Life seal plunder triggered. Constitution +1. Jiang Sun counted on his fingers. He had gained 4 attribute points from this fight alone. He clapped his hands contentedly. This detour had been well worth it. Iron Ball sat on his shoulder, its metal face twisted. Master, that's really something. This is resource recycling. Jiang Sun said solemnly. They fight monsters, I collect the spoils. Everybody wins. Iron Ball hesitated. But I also want to go punch things. Stay put. Jiang Sun said without changing expression. The party pressed onward. After traveling a short distance, Lu Jinghong slowed and squinted toward the stone forest. Shadow Phantom Leopard, level 65 elite, 210,000 HP. It can stealth. He turned toward the group. This creature preys on stragglers. Stay alert. Jiang Sun quietly moved into the middle of the formation, shielded by people front and back. Safe and sound. Stealth or no stealth, he was not the one doing the fighting. Deep within the weathered stone forest, a pair of green eyes opened, then closed. That was the Shadow Phantom Leopard, yet its gaze was not fixed on this party. From deeper inside the stone forest, Another line of sight swept back along the path the group had taken, as if counting every person one by one. Once finished, that presence withdrew. Past the stone forest, the wilderness stretched wide and open. Vast sky met endless meadow. Every so often, gray-skinned wild boars, long-eared foxes, and other level 40 to 50 monsters darted out from the grass. It was Jiang Sun's first time seeing such a serene, beautiful surface, world landscape. The party's mood was light. Led by their guide, this group of talented young cultivators advanced toward the secret realm entrance. Wild monster resources here were abundant. Though monster density could not compare with the monster siege, packs of foes appeared every short distance. It struck Jiang Sun as strange. Where did all the monsters in this world of Guanlan come from? Were they truly just data spawning out of thin air? He doubted it. Yet the way monsters reappeared in the same spots felt exactly like that mechanic. Everything followed give and take, each thing sustaining another. There should be no mechanism that only gave without receiving anything in return. This place functioned like a game world in many ways, with systems, stat panels, and monster respawn mechanics, yet it was utterly real. People truly died when they were killed. How bizarre was that? Could there be some opposing force at work behind everything? Jiang Sun shook off the puzzle. Some questions were not worth obsessing over. Better to earn experience inside the secret realm. If he could raise all 4 of his summons to epic grade, how amazing would that be? At that point, he could probably roam freely among all first-order combatants. But thinking of the experience cost made his head throb. Even with the 70% experience discount, raising 1 summon to epic needed 900,000 experience. 4 of them would demand 3,600,000. Since awakening his powers, Jiang Sun had accumulated less than 1 million experience in total. Damn it! When he also considered the experience required to bring himself and all summons to level 99, the peak of first order, Jiang Sun felt like giving up. The experience requirements were staggering. He had never expected level ups themselves to be such a massive experience sink. At least higher level monsters granted more experience upon defeat. He sighed quietly. Take it slow. Little by little would add up. Pushing those thoughts aside, he returned to the present. As they walked, they stumbled across a herd of gray-skinned wild boars. Move. This one's mine. Wu Tai charged to the front, swinging his axe and sending one boar flying 10 meters. He chased it down with 2 more strikes before it finally fell. He turned back, chest puffed out, clearly waiting for praise. For all their talent, these prodigies acted almost like children. Jiang Sun thought to himself. Having lived 2 lives, he possessed far more life experience and kept a steady head. Unlike these youngsters. Brother Tai, back off, you're scaring all the monsters away. Lu Jinghong chuckled beside him. Your axe work was great against wolves. Teach me sometime. Shut up. Bai Lu walked along the edge of the group. Spotting a patch of small, yellow-flowered medicinal herbs, she crouched down to harvest them. Sister Bai Lu, you dare pick random plants out in the wilderness? Aren't you afraid of poison? Jiang Sun stepped over. This is Hartrok grass. It treats external wounds. The spirit pavilion buys them for 300 copper coins each. Bai Lu did not look up as her hands moved quickly. The wilderness is full of treasures. You just need to know what to look for. Jiang Sun nodded. This party truly had every kind of specialist. Qin Yimian walked at the very front. A thin layer of frost spread across the ground 3 meters all around her, leaving crisp footprints with every step. A walking freezer, basically. Jiang Sun wondered if maintaining that effect constantly drained her mana and elemental power. Guan Shanyue brought up the rear with his shield. He moved at an unhurried pace, yet his eyes scanned every direction constantly. Gu Changfeng carried his unsheathed long sword at his side, walking in the middle of the group. Shen Xingzi trailed diagonally behind him, keeping a close watch on Gu Changfeng as if guarding against a thief. Duan Muli held a palm-sized young cyan, green dragon in her arms, walking silently along the fringe of the party. The hatchling rested in her hands, yawning and looking drowsy, ready to fall asleep. Jiang Sun felt a flicker of envy toward her summon. What incredible luck! Not only did she possess an SSS-rank talent, her summon was a young dragon. Though still immature, it was genuine dragon stock. Its potential as it grew would be immense. Jiang Sun sighed inwardly in genuine envy. Compare that to his own summons. Iron Ball, Salted Fish, a little fluffy cat-like creature, and Lingyu. It was practically a zoo. Jiang Sun drifted toward the back of the party, watching the others. He found them endlessly amusing. All free labor. Unfortunately, these monsters were fairly weak, so no one needed to unleash their full strength to wipe them out. That suited him perfectly. He could focus entirely on planting seals, collecting attribute points, seal values, and shared experience. They had formed this team back in Azurewood City. Experience from every kill was split evenly among all members. The young dragon yawned again in Duanmu Li's hands, barely opening its eyes. Suddenly, a deafening rumble boomed ahead of the party. He glanced toward the Hartrock grass for a moment, then thought better of it. He was no herbalist anyway. A dirt slope ahead collapsed entirely, billowing clouds of dust. A giant beast 3 stories tall rose from the crater. Thick dark brown armor like hide covered its body. 2 curved tusks jutted outward like crescent moons. White steam puffed from its nostrils. Every exhale sent arcs of electricity bursting across the ground. Thunder raged, giant rhinoceros. Lu Jinghong's voice rose sharply. Boss rank. Level 65. Are we out of our luck? Aren't boss rank monsters supposed to be extremely rare? Is there a jinx among us? Meng Xinghe, cast a divination and get rid of this bad fortune. The prodigies shouted in shock, yet their hands moved fast. Everyone readied for battle. Ironwall class fighters raised their strongest defenses. Archers, mages, and sword cultivators all gripped their weapons. Lu Jinghong scanned the monster's stat panel, his face turning pale. 600,000 HP. Its hide makes blades feel like scratching an itch. Never take its lightning breath head-on. You'll get electrocuted. And do not block its charge directly. It hits like a landslide. Thunder Rage, giant rhinoceros boss, LV.65 HP. 601000 ATK. 18865 DF. 5992 skills. Lightning Breath, Savage Charge, Thunderous Stampede. Back during the monster siege, a whole squad of second-order fighters had barely managed to hold off one boss rank monster. And that foe had only been in its 50s. This one was level 65, more than 10 levels higher. Now the true test of these prodigies' combat strength would arrive. They had no prior practice or coordinated battle drills. Yet everyone quickly fell into their combat roles. Guan Shangyue sprinted to the front and planted his shield heavily into the ground with a dull thud. Fall back. Too late. Qin Yumian's warning rang out fast. She wove frost into an ice wall. The rhinoceros bellowed and pushed off with all 4 hooves, charging forward like a moving mountain. Boom. Guan Shanyue's shield absorbed the impact. He slid backward 7 or 8 meters, carving 2 deep grooves into the earth with his saws. Old Guan. Bai Lu cried out. I'm fine. Guan Shanyue's teeth ground together. Electricity crackled across his shield, yet he forced his shield forward again. This brute is strong, but I can hold it. Truly worthy of being a boss-rank monster in its 60s. Wu Tai circled to its flank and brought his axe crashing down onto its leg. Sparks flew. Only a pale mark appeared on the thick hide. What kind of hide is this? The defense is insane. Wu Tai's hands went numb from the recoil. It has weak points in its eyes. Lu Jinghong drew his bow and loosed an arrow straight at one eyelid, only for it to bounce off as the eyelid flickered shut. Enraged, the rhinoceros roared and spewed a bolt of lightning toward Wu Tai's feet, blasting a half-meter deep crater. Wu Tai scrambled away, his face drained of color. This thing can cast lightning. Stay in formation. Qin Yumian enveloped the rhinoceros' legs in frost. The beast struggled, its movements noticeably slowed. It's frozen. Strike now. Lu Jinghong shouted. Gu Changfeng finally drew his sword. A sword chi swept low across the ground, slicing into the rhinoceros' belly and tearing open a gash in its thick skin. Writhing in pain, the rhinoceros broke free of the frost and charged toward Gu Changfeng. Gu Changfeng dodged sideways and followed up with another sword chi, deepening the wound. Shen Xingxi refused to be outdone. A flash of steel carved another bleeding gash across the monster's body. Aim for the eyes. Lu Jinghong yelled again. Its eyes are its weak spot with far lower defense. The rhinoceros' left eye looked smaller than its right, bearing an old injury. Wu Tai lunged forward, swinging his axe hard into the rhinoceros' left eye. Splash of blood. The rhinoceros let out a deafening howl. Its hooves stamped furiously against the ground. It threw its full weight toward Wu Tai and slammed into him. Unable to dodge, Wu Tai went flying, rolling across the dirt several times before stopping. Brother Tai? Bai Lu ran over, green light glowing in her hands as she pressed them to his chest. Hold still, I'll heal you. I'm all right. Wu Tai gritted his teeth and pushed himself up. I can take this injury. Wounded only made the rhinoceros more ferocious. It exhaled billowing lightning, showering 10 meters of ground with electric arcs. Guan Shangyue stood firm at the front, blocking the lightning with his shield. Smoke curled off his body from the electrocution. Still he would not retreat. What a dutiful tank. Jiang Sun thought it would be great to have someone like him in a party. If this drags on, we'll be in trouble. Lu Jinghong paled. This beast has gone berserk. Jiang Sun huddled at the rear, watching the fight unfold. Boss-rank monsters were truly something. Even these talented youths struggled against it. Through all their combined attacks, they had only chipped away a third of its massive HP bar. Those hit points were absurdly high. Their guide was a third-order powerhouse, yet his duty was merely to lead the way. He would not join this battle. He simply observed the prodigies trade blows with the boss. Jiang Sun believed he would step in if anyone's life was truly on the line. The guide was Meng Tsong, a senior operative of the Spirit Pavilion, a third-order Iron Wall class cultivator. If he intervened, this boss-rank monster would not even be able to scratch his defenses. While keeping watch over the fight, the guide glanced toward a certain spot in the distance. He seemed to have sensed an unusual aura. While the party tangled with the monster, 7 or 8 figures had silently concealed themselves a kilometer or two away. The leader stared down at the battlefield for a long moment, then spoke in a low voice. This must be our target group. Still, something feels off about this assignment. My left eyelid keeps twitching. I sense bad trouble coming. What's wrong, boss? We've pulled off plenty of jobs out in these wild lands. What have we got to fear? One subordinate asked. 3 of us are second order. How can we lose against a bunch of kids? That speaker clearly had not seen how calm and collected their guide remained. Had he laid eyes on the guide, his confidence would have vanished. That Thunder Rage giant rhinoceros is level 60 plus boss rank. The leader lowered his voice. Last month we watched a party of 30-something get chased across whole mountains by one just like it. 7 of them died before they finally wore it down. He watched Guan Shanyue's back as he bore the brunt of the electrical arcs and clicked his tongue. Among this group, aside from that Wind Affine one whose strength is hard to gauge, the rest boast remarkable skill and stats. We must not take them lightly. Especially that sword cultivator. His attack power is genuinely impressive. Every strike carves open a gash. Another man lying prone chimed in. Ordinary first-order sword cultivators would only tickle this boss when hacking at its thick hide. And that frost-wielding woman, she froze a chieftain-rank monster just like that? The leader's voice trailed off. This party is no ordinary bunch. No matter how extraordinary they are, we still have to strike. This is our perfect chance. Our mission is to hunt them down. Our superior's intel is clear. This is the exact group. So how do we fight them? Someone beside him asked. Ambush, of course. The more talented they are, the greater the glory of killing them, and the higher the reward. He pointed downhill with a jerk of his hand. Ranged attackers, unleash your strongest abilities. Flood the area. If we can cripple them, all the better. Then we move in for the kill. Black feathered knocks settled silently onto bowstrings. Spells quietly coalesced. At the leader's sharp command, fire. A deluge of attacks rained down upon the battlefield below. A faint whistling sound drifted up from the slope. Jiang Sun's hair stood on end. Without turning his head, he instinctively activated Void Spirit Step. Flashing 5 meters sideways in an instant, a black feathered arrow whizzed into the earth where he had stood, its tail quivering violently. Whoa, Jiang Sun thought to himself. As a mere B-rank summoner, he had to keep up his act. He shouted at the top of his voice, arrows. Someone's shooting at me. Everyone take cover. What? Lu Jinghong spun around at once and spotted several figures crouched in the grass atop the slope. Countless ranged assaults were bearing down on them. Ambush, Guan Shanyue roared, raising his shield and triggering his skill. A translucent barrier enveloped the entire party. Strikes hammered against the shield, ringing out in a clattering din. Yet the barrier held firm without the slightest sign of shattering. Once the onslaught ended, the shield dissipated. It was a high defense skill, but one with an extremely short duration. You go. That skill of yours doesn't last long. 3-second true man, huh? Jiang Sun teased. Guan Shanyue ignored him. With his SS rank Iron Wall talent, possessing such a powerful life-saving skill was already a great asset. Spread out quickly. My skill is on a 3-minute cooldown. I can't cast it again for now, Guan Shanyue warned. Qin Yumian raised her hand, gathering frost energy. Even from a distance, Jiang Sun could feel its biting chill. She waved her hand, sending a cloud of icy mist surging toward the hilltop. The ambushers had already relocated the moment they unleashed their attacks. Evading the freeze. These scoundrels knew every trick in the book. They're scavenging off our fight. Lu Jinghong stared fixedly uphill. They waited for us to wear down the rhinoceros and hoped to reap the rewards. Lots of people like this out in the wild. They live by robbing and preying on others. Ugh, these human vermin, daring to set their sights on us. I won't stand for this. Should we go after them? Jiang Sun seethed. If he hadn't instantly activated his newly acquired Void Spirit Step to dodge, he would have been struck. These people were known as the Wild Hounds. In the Great Xia Empire's education and propaganda, they were lumped together with cultists. They formed small teams in the wilderness, hunting down profession holders and looting their resources by any means necessary. They would never be permitted entry into the floating cities. Once marked on Great Xia's wanted list, every profession holder would seek to destroy them. Meanwhile, the Thunder Rhino grew furious. How dare they abandon the fight halfway? Ants. Driven into a berserk rage, the rhinoceros charged forward, scattering the party. Figures from the hilltop slipped down amid billowing dust, blades glinting as they lunged toward the rear of the group. Jiang Sun was sitting on the ground when a short dagger stabbed toward him. Damn it, an invisible assassin. He threw himself backward. The blade sliced past his nose, severing several strands of his hair. The assassin twisted his wrist, driving the dagger toward Jiang Sun's throat for a follow-up strike. Before Jiang Sun could evade, the black iron sphere that had been perched idly on his shoulder shot forward. I've had enough of you. The iron sphere swelled its metal skull and crashed head first into the assassin. Unable to dodge, the attacker blocked with his dagger. A deafening clang rang out. The force sent man and blade flying. The assassin slammed into the dirt slope, creating a human-shaped crater and lay motionless. The leader on the hill watched in shock. He stared hard at the iron sphere and cursed under his breath. Damn it, that seemingly weakest one is actually a summoner? How is that battle spirit so powerful? That blow packs as much force as the axe wielder down there. Boss, should we keep fighting? I feel things are going south, one subordinate asked. Shoot. Keep laying down ranged damage. Keep them occupied while the Thunder Rhino is still attacking them. This is our chance. Unleash every skill you've got. Kill them all. The subordinates readied another wave of attacks targeting Jiang Sun's group. Gu Changfeng roared upon seeing this. Hold off the Thunder Rhino. I'll deal with them. He activated his movement art, his body turning into a sharp streak of sword chi as he rocketed toward the ambushers. Shen Xingxi was hot on his heels, shouting, I'm coming too, you curs. Taste my sword chi. The two charged forward side by side. Jiang Sun watched, amused. Those two were always trying to outdo each other. Guan Shangyue and Wu Tai bore the full brunt of the Thunder Rhino, keeping it from interfering with the damage dealers. Even amid chaos, the talented fighters divided roles seamlessly. True geniuses, sharp-witted in combat, and unafraid of danger. Jiang Sun blinked and branded every enemy with a life seal. He then walked over to the assassin who had nearly been crushed by the iron sphere. Keep hammering him. Don't let him catch his breath. Following the order, the iron sphere rained blow after blow downward. The crater sank deeper with every strike. Presently, the iron sphere stopped. Jiang Sun leaned over to peer inside. Nothing remained but mangled flesh mixed with soil at the bottom of the hole. You have defeated profession holder Zhang Sanson. Life seal points +1, strength +2. Jiang Sun froze at the system notification. This was his first time killing another profession holder, and it granted stat bonuses. The drop rate seemed far higher than defeating monsters. A mere human opponent had given him 2 full strength points. Was this some kind of loophole? Jiang Sun mentally filed this observation away. He would test it later. If true, he would show no mercy to such villains. Wild Hounds, followers of the Abyss cult and the Blood Moon cult. Kill them all on sight. That would be an efficient way to gain attribute points. Looking down at the corpse in the crater, Jiang Sun felt no moral qualms. Though he had never taken a life in either of his lifetimes, his heart remained calm. Unexpectedly, Meng Xingzi, the so-called mystic genius, arrived faster than Gu Changfeng and Shen Xingzi. He drifted toward one of the ambushers. Infinite heavenly honor. My divination foretells you face mortal peril today. Do you believe it? The ambusher saw a hazy shadow drift before him and heard the mystic's words. Terror washed over him. To hell with your doom. I am your doom. Without any grand gesture, Meng Xingzi gathered a ball of white light and pressed it against the man's body. The ambusher collapsed limply to the ground. Swift and decisive. Jiang Sun could only marvel inwardly. So the immortal doom was brought about by himself. Truly a master. Gu Changfeng and Shen Xingzi plunged into the enemy ranks like tigers among sheep. The foes struggled to defend themselves. Yet, 3 second-order profession holders led the attackers. They withstood the 2 warriors' onslaught and managed to fight them to a standstill. Back at the Thunder Rhino fight, everyone who had not rushed off poured out damage. Guan Shangyue and Wu Tai held the enraged beast at bay. Layer upon layer of Qin Yumian's frost slowed its massive body. Lu Jinghong loosed arrows that found their mark again and again. Jiang Sun was surprised by Duan Muli. The young dragon that had once nestled like a pet in his arms now hovered in the air, spewing fire. Its damage output rivaled Lu Jinghong's, even edging slightly higher. This young dragon was at minimum platinum grade. Its attack power was comparable to Ling Yu's. Impressive. Normal first-order summoners already possessed 2 contracted beasts. Why had Duanmu Li only summoned this one? Was she also hiding her true strength? Thinking about it, none of these prodigies were fighting with their full power, despite the fierce battle. At last, the Thunder Rhino collapsed with a thunderous crash, kicking up clouds of dust. Experience plus 148,060, life seal points plus 1, constitution plus 1. System notifications flooded his vision. The beast had finally been worn down. Ignoring the experience gains, Jiang Sun scanned his surroundings. All figures on the slope had fled, leaving only corpses. Gu Changfeng, Shen Xingzi, and Meng Xingzi stood atop the hill, gazing into the distance. 2 got away, Meng Xingzi reported. Bai Lu knelt and searched a corpse's clothes, pulling out a black iron token etched with a twisted symbol. This is an Abyss cult token? Bai Lu's expression darkened. They are Abyss cult followers. Lu Jinghong knitted his brows. The Abyss cult has set their sights on us. The team leader spoke calmly. It is hardly surprising that a team of such talented youths would draw their attention. What surprises me is that they only sent cannon fodder to test us. Wu Tai scratched his head. Does that mean they will strike again? Undoubtedly. But do not over-worry. The dungeon forbids any power exceeding first order from entering. The rules offer you some protection. Enough. Gather yourselves. We press onward. Hearing they were targeted by the Abyss cult, the group burned with eagerness rather than fear. Sitting on the ground, Jiang Sun pondered. Why had that arrow been aimed specifically at him? A.B. Rank summoner was supposed to be background noise. When had he become a priority target? That dagger strike had also been directed straight at him. Then he recalled something. During the chaos, he had branded every enemy with his life seal. He could sense the 3 fugitives hurrying away at high speed. Just wait. Once I leave this dungeon, I will hunt down your hideout. I wonder how many stat points I can harvest from you. The iron sphere perched on his shoulder looked dissatisfied. Master, that punk went down far too easily. I hadn't even warmed up before he turned into pulp. Patience. The best fights are yet to come. You will get plenty of chances. That night, the group set up camp behind a wind-sheltered earthen slope. Bonfire crackled. Bai Lu cooked a pot of soup and handed bowls to everyone. Holding his bowl, Jiang Sun pretended to stargaze and closed his eyes to sense his seals. The marks had stopped moving in one direction, not far from camp. He drained his soup in one gulp. Run all you want. Flee back to your lair, so I can wipe you all out at once. Jiang Sun, what are you staring at? Bai Lu walked over, eyeing him suspiciously. Stargazing, Jiang Sun said with a straight face. I've loved watching stars since childhood. The stars are behind you, Bai Lu said, pointing over his shoulder. You don't know? You appreciate stars better from behind, with your mind. Jiang Sun replied without flinching, shifting his position. Bai Lu stared at him for a long moment before shaking her head and walking away. Jiang Sun exhaled in relief, glancing down at his empty bowl, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Deep in the wilderness lay a withered forest, hiding a ruined mountain temple at its heart. Half its roof had caved in, vines crawling thickly over walls and rafters. A relic left behind long before the game descended upon the world. Despite 2 or 3 centuries passing, most of its structure still stood. A string of bone bells hung above the gate, jingling in the wind with an eerie, grating sound, clearly added later. 2 gray, robed cultists hid in the gateway shadows, blades in hand, scanning the surroundings vigilantly. Inside the courtyard, 20 or so people lounged about. Some sharpened blades, some chewed rations, others wrapped bandages around their arms. All were hardened killers living on the edge of death. Incense burned brightly in the main hall before a faceless idol, its features erased into a black smudge. Gu Tu sat behind a broken, legged table in the main hall, tapping his fingers rhythmically against the wood. Opposite him sat a figure cloaked in gray, hood pulled low, revealing only a sliver of jaw. The scouting squad we dispatched is almost entirely wiped out, the cloaked figure said. 7 or 8 men. Only 3 returned, all badly wounded. Gu Tu paused his tapping, then resumed. They were disposable pawns. Their deaths mean nothing, so long as they brought back intelligence. Did they? They brought back some, though incomplete. The cloaked man continued. Those prodigies are terrifyingly strong. 3-second, order leaders of ours could not even hold back one of their sword cultivators. Our men were cut down like melons and vegetables. It seems Great Xia's rising talents are formidable, Gu Tu remarked. The star, Crest Institute guards them like treasures. They are no weaklings. The cloaked man pulled a slip of paper from his robes and slid it across the table. Gutu picked it up, reading by faint light filtering through the doorway. The note was brief. Dungeon opens tomorrow. 20 entrants total, 10 from Star, Crest Institute, 10 selected by Spirit, Pivot Pavilion. Only 20 slots. Gutu asked. Exactly 20. The dungeon is classified. Star, Crest, and Spirit, Pivot guard the slots tightly. No extra person can sneak in. Gutu held the note to a flame and watched it burn to ash. No extra entrance allowed. We will find a way. I have received divine revelation. This dungeon holds great secrets. These are Great Xia's most gifted awakeners of this year. If we do not slay some of them, our opposition will only grow stronger. We ourselves can endure hardship, but if we delay the divine being's descent and the world's corruption, we shall be guilty. What of our two moles? A faint smirk tugged at the cloaked man's mouth. The moles have infiltrated the party. Once inside the dungeon, they will act independently. How many they kill remains uncertain. Good, Gutu said. That is what I want to hear. They must stay hidden. Send only one single message. Leave no trace for Great Xia to uncover. Ensure they enter the dungeon safely. Who are these two? Can they deliver results? Both are peak first, order, special, ability wielders, well, suited for awakening ancient entities. Gutu stared at the cult deacon across from him, as if he were an idiot. Are you fools? All those prodigies are first, order. Sending 2 peak first, order fighters will barely make a ripple. Has your mind been eaten away? The cloaked man nearly drew his blade in anger, but dared not. Gutu was his superior and far stronger. Though mocked for having his sacrificial beast tied stolen by others, Gutu remained the highest, ranking cultist in Greenwood City. My lord Gutu, my resources are limited. This is all I could arrange. Very well. Setting that aside, have you prepared hidden tricks? The Blood Moon cult possesses forbidden elixirs granting temporary power beyond one's rank. Did you bring any? The cloaked man's face darkened. We had too little time to prepare this mission. Gutu sighed and pulled 2 round crimson pills from his pack and handed them over. These are berserk blood pills. First, order profession. Holders who take them gain temporary second, order, mid-tier power. The price, they can never level up or gain attribute points afterward. They become useless once consumed. It matters not if they are ruined afterward. All that counts is slaying everyone inside the dungeon. Gutu stroked his chin, still unsatisfied. He drew forth another object, a stone amulet carved with a ferocious monster. Plain, looking and dull gray. This is the Demon Seal Tablet. It binds a second, order elite boss. Within this dungeon's energy constraints, it should be unmatched. This tablet is the key to controlling the beast. Give this to them as well. The 2 great sacred cults join hands for this mission. Every entrant must die. The gray, cloaked figure reached out and took the 2 items. Strange lights flickered in his eyes. That bone butcher, truly worthy of being someone from a higher grade floating giant city. He's loaded, has all sorts of fine treasures, and is willing to part with them. Not bad at all. This time, we'll make sure these folks go in alive and never come out. Bone Butcher nodded. Once they get inside, they have 2 main jobs. He held up one finger. First, slay the geniuses. Second, still slay the geniuses. Even just one of Star K's 10 most prized talents dying inside will sting them badly. The gray, cloaked figure acknowledged and rose to leave. Bone Butcher added another remark. Send word to the Blood Moon cult too. It's high time they pulled their weight. Stop hiding like cowards. The gray, cloaked man nodded, lifted the black cloth curtain, and slipped outside. Bone Butcher sank back into closed eye contemplation. After an unknown stretch of time, a figure stepped in. He was short of stature, half his face concealed by a bone mask, the exposed half deathly pale. He was someone from the Abyss cult. The Blood Moon cult sure has far-reaching hands. The man spoke in a shrill voice. You even managed to plant people inside the Spirit Pinnacle Pavilion? Mutual benefit, Bone Butcher replied without lifting his head. Didn't your Blood Moon cult also sneak operatives in? Aren't you afraid your superiors will subject you to severe punishment if you fail the mission? We cannot plant anyone. The masked man shook his head. But that is none of your concern. We have our own methods. We shall see whose people claim more kills when all is said and done. With that lukewarm taunt toward Bone Butcher, the masked man departed at a leisurely pace. Bone Butcher sat alone for a while before grinding his teeth in rage. That brat who stole his divine blood was good at lying low. He had dispatched a squad to lie in wait and tail the youth in Greenwood City. Yet they had only caught one glimpse of him and lost track completely afterward. The boy was like a grasshopper, leaping away and vanishing without a trace. Just wait. Sooner or later you will fall into my hands. When that day comes, I will make you pay dearly, over and over again. Darkness reclaimed the chamber. Bone Butcher leaned against his chair and stared for a long time at the ashes left from a burnt slip of paper. Star. Kay thought they had kept this secret realm well hidden. They had discovered it, and their own men guarded its gateway. But what good was that? The high-ranking members of the Blood Moon cult had gotten wind of it anyway. That was why they had assigned him to set all these schemes in motion. The Blood Moon cult's higher-ups truly possessed extraordinary means to dig up such intelligence. At the hour of the dragon the next day, the 10-man group arrived at the outpost beneath the cliff. It was a modest encampment of several rows of stone houses. A large banner embroidered with the emblem of the Spirit Pinnacle Pavilion snapped loudly in the wind. The entrance lay at the bottom of the cliff, a pitch-black cave. Deep within the cave shimmered a blue, glowing teleportation gate rippling like water. 2 lines of guards stood beside the cave, their polished armor glinting, gazes straight and unwavering. A middle-aged man robed in Spirit Pinnacle Pavilion garments stepped forward, exchanged official documents with Meng Song, then turned to face the group of 10. Meng Song was their team leader. "This is the steward of the Spirit Pinnacle Pavilion outpost," Meng Song said. "Listen closely as he explains the rules. This is where I leave you. I shall head back shortly and will not wait here. You may depart on your own once you emerge." The steward cleared his throat, his expression stern enough to wring water from it. "Everyone, once you step through this gate, you enter the Sleepless Grounds. Let me be clear from the start. Memorize 3 rules before going in. First, there exists an enormous eye hanging in the skies above the Sleepless Grounds. Do not stare at it for too long. When it gazes upon you, a sense of dread will well up inside your hearts. That creeping unease is normal, but do not tilt your head upward to fix your eyes on it. Second, do not tamper with corpses scattered across the wasteland. Just as in the outside world, loot from your kills will go into your inventory. This secret realm is peculiar, however. Monster corpses never vanish after death. Do not move them, or unforeseen calamities will befall you. Third, there is a dry well near the city gate along your path into the city. If you hear the sound of running water coming from the well, steer well clear and never lean over its opening. These 3 rules were bought with lives. The steward paused. Only half of the last team sent and made it back alive. Do you all understand? Everyone listened earnestly. Though they were prodigies, they were no fools. Wu Tai scratched his head. This place sounds downright sinister. Lu Jinghong whispered beside him. Are you describing a secret realm or a graveyard? Jiang Sun stood at the rear of the party, observing his surroundings as he listened. The man checking the roster was in his 30s. Though he pretended to pay attention to the steward's briefing, his eyes kept sweeping back and forth across the 20-strong group. Among the 10 recruits selected by the Spirit Pinnacle Pavilion, several stood with disciplined bearing. A couple bore the rugged aura of veterans accustomed to surviving in the wild. 2 of them positioned themselves inconspicuously within everyone's blind spots. Wu Tai rubbed his hands together in excitement. Word is experience gain triples inside this realm. I'm about to skyrocket in power. Bro Tai, keep those 3 rules in mind first, Lu Jinghong reminded him. Don't only daydream about soaring, or you might go flying straight into that dry well. You're the one who'll fall in. Meng Xinghe, walking nearby, halted abruptly, counting on his fingers. His countenance paled. This place bears extremely ill omens. Extremely ill omens. Diviner, Lu Jinghong cut in. Is that eye of yours still not fully healed? Can you cast divinations properly with only one good eye? Don't get your predictions all wrong. Meng Xinghe,